Guys, live on YouTube.
I know.
Hopefully everybody.
I believe we're on YouTube now, I think. Let's see if we get a couple people to join us on a Friday afternoon. Oh, wait, you've got us?
I'm showing us live.
Very nice. Let's see if we can get a couple people to jump on. Corey and I are sitting here. We should be filming our recap, but we were both kind of not feeling like all of the anger and hate that we were feeling towards whenever we watch Cody. And so we're like, you know what? Let's just jump on and go live really quick.
Hello, guys.
Yay. We got some.
In case you don't know who we are, this is Melanie from Notes to Self.
This is Corey, my trusty sidekick. I know I'll text my mom and tell her she was.
I'm the Robin to her Batman, not to her Cody. So.
Yeah. We've had a ton of questions this week. And
Timing for us in European Sweet. Hello,
texting
guys.
my mother, telling her that we decided to go live. Oh, yay, Rosa's on. Yeah, we just decided to go live really quick. We were going to film our recap. And it's just been the longest week. I have been working on a file straight from hell, and we finally got it done. We're closing it on Tuesday. And so we just have not had time. We've sat down 5 times this week to record our recap of last week's tell-all. And every single time,
then our work
emergency happens, and we ended up having to jump off, and we haven't been able to get it filmed yet. But literally 5 times we sat down. Even right now, we sat down to make the recording, and all of a sudden it's like, I'm not feeling it. I'm just not feeling the whole. Come on, turn that down. I'm like, do you want to just go live and answer some questions? Because we've had a ton of questions this week about what our thoughts are on some of the things that have been going on, like the home equity line of credit against the property for Robin and Cody. So we've just been having a bunch of questions like that. So we figured we'd just go live for an hour or so and answer some of those questions. Yeah, this one made us kind of frustrated too. I'm not even kidding. We're not even halfway through the episode. I have like 3 pages of notes already. And what's infuriating about it is that my mom is literally in the middle of all of this stuff too. And so it's really frustrating to deal with it. And today's our daughter's birthday. So we'll give her a big shout out for that. Yeah, our daughter turns 32 today. She is, if anyone wants to follow her, she bought some property and she's kind of doing the homesteading thing. She's got a YouTube page called Beneath the Pines, and she's got so she's been making some videos about how they're developing their land and their home. They're building a home out there. So if anyone wants to follow her, but today's her birthday, so happy birthday. Let's see. The Tell Nothing. Yeah. I actually think we're starting to finally get some pieces. Wouldn't you say?
Pieces of the puzzle. Yeah, there was some stuff said, but it just kind of, they brushed over it. I think Janelle was trying to bring some stuff to the forefront. I was amazed because, I don't know, so we know Mary has a lawyer. I assumed Cody and Robin had a lawyer because they were talking between the lawyers, and I assumed Janelle had a lawyer. So I was like, 3 lawyers are talking in here. But kind of the thing that caught my attention was at the last minute, Robin comes in with her crayons or her addendum to what she wants all 3 of them to sign on being nice to each other and not talking about it. And I went, either Cody's lawyer didn't give him the heads up that Robin was working on a shut your mouth addendum, or Robin has her own lawyers. So I was like, wow, okay. So yeah, looks like to me And again, I'm just putting puzzle pieces together, but yeah, Robin might have her own set of lawyers, making sure that she's protected too. Yeah, when you have, and so they're talking about the backdoor deal. I'm wondering if that backdoor deal was the one that Robin's like, okay, I need my own lawyer in this process too. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm wondering too. So Corey's like, Robin sounds like she's got her own attorney. What the heck is happening here? Cody didn't even realize she had her own attorney
yeah,
because Cody went
Cody's
in and
there
signed
signing
paperwork.
paperwork. So
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, Robin shows up with a whole new set of paperwork. If they were sharing an attorney, he probably would have given him heads up on that. So
And honestly, I don't think there was really a backdoor deal. I think Janelle, her attorney was giving her a ton of options, and she was running those options by Cody. And Cody went, oh, I'll take that right there and make Janelle look like the bad guy. I really don't think that Janelle is ever going. Why would Janelle take the time out to go and tell Mary to get an attorney? Why would she do all of that if she was just going to try to screw her out of her portion of it anyways?
well, I think there was conversation going on where she's like, oh, you know what? Everybody needs their own attorney in this situation.
Yep.
So
So I really don't think that Janelle had that. I think Janelle's attorney is looking out for his client, which is Janelle. And he's saying, here's some of our options. Let's see what we can do. And so they're ideas. They weren't like, oh, hey, we're going to go do this. Hey, we're going to go do that. It's not. It's just like, hey, what are some of our options? What are some of the things that we can do? So Janelle's throwing those options out to Cody. And that's why she doesn't want to defend herself, because she doesn't really need to. She didn't do anything. And but again,
she did,
this is what happens in polygamy,
Yeah, this is-
unfortunately, is these men, and there's already so much hurt and so much like upset that these men get these women to turn on each other the way that they are. So I still don't believe that Janelle did anything like that. But there you go.
yeah, she's just letting him get enough rope to hang himself, I guess.
Exactly.
is
That's
she's
what
doing.
I think Janelle's like, here, let me give Cody a little bit more rope. Because how many times have you heard this? And I've heard this a million times from my father. You know, like when Cody's like, I had a great relationship with all of my children before the divorces. And yet anyone who watches TV anyone who watches this show knows that that's not true. They know that that his relationships were strained with his children because of COVID. What happened, you know, but he lives in this little fairyland. And my dad does the same thing. I've heard my dad say this a million times. You know, oh, our relationships are great. And you're like, no, they're not, Dad. But they want to pick out the parts. They don't want to be bothered by the little details. So they pick out the parts that are good for them and they leave all the rest behind. And typically that happens with their children or their families. They just leave them behind because they don't want to deal with that part of it.
Well, and the funny part is actions speak louder than words in this situation. And Janelle's action was like, you need to get a lawyer.
Yeah.
And even Mary at the beginning, why would I need to get a lawyer? So
They're not gonna screw
they're not going
us.
to do that. And she's like, no, you need to get a lawyer. So,
So I'm so tired. And if anyone caught this too, one of the things that Cody said is that in one of the new teasers for next week, and this is where we haven't done our recap yet because I'm still wrapping my brain around some of the stuff. I'm so frustrated by it. One of the things he says, they talk about all the equity of Mary's Las Vegas house going into this house and or going into Robin's Flagstaff house. One of the things he says was Mary wanted 100% of the equity. Well, that's not what our divorce decree said. Yet in the episodes, it was like, this is just paperwork. This doesn't mean anything. This, you know, Robin's not at the head of this. This is just removing legalities. But now all of a sudden, Mary has a divorce decree that Cody wants to follow. And then he says, Mary refused to acknowledge all the money that Robin and I put into Coyote Pass, yet she still wants 25%. And I'm over here like, you stupid mother effer, because he's looking at it, and this is Pligonometry. We have talked about Pligonometry on our channel before. He's looking at it like him and Robin put in Christine's portion because he should have gotten equity out of Christine's house. He didn't. So therefore, him and Robin are more invested into Coyote Pass than anyone else is because they are invested in Christine's portion. So therefore, Mary and Janelle do not deserve 25% because Cody and Robin are more invested than they are. And this is why I think he's so aggressive. And when he put his hand on Mary's hand and said, that's verboten, this is where you see the bullying. And this is where you see all of these women getting financially taken advantage of, because they do math in their head that's not real math. That's like, it doesn't make logical sense, but in their brain it does. And so it's infuriating to listen to. And so now Cody feels, so he says that very carefully. He's like, Mary refuses to recognize how much, mine and Robin's portion in Coyote Pass, but she still wants her 25%. And the fact that they wanted her to sign an NDA that said, will hold harmless any sort of anything else, Mary would have no way to go back and get any of that. Yep. So it's insane to me. I think these people are nuts. And I think that they fully believe that they deserve all of this.
Well, and I'm liking that she said that she's going to be the big fat rock in the way. And then it doesn't sound like any of them signed her NDA. So it's like, well, we'll just go around your rock, Robin. Thank you. So.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sorry to hear this, Rosa, but this is so true. My sister-in-law and brother-in-law literally lost their house to pligonometry, i.e. paperwork that didn't mean anything. Mm-hmm. And this is, so I've been kind of hard on polygamous women because I just think that let's talk about the girl games too. That's one of the reasons why I'm so hard on polygamous women is because of girl games. But this is another thing, is the legal things, the legal paperwork that doesn't mean anything. And Corey and I were talking about this the other day, how these women get trapped because it's coercive control, absolutely. And then it's one compromised decision. Mm-hmm. And then it's the next compromised decision. Then it's the next one, until all of a sudden Mary finds herself in a legal battle that she mm-hmm. didn't even see coming at her, because it was one compromised decision after another.
If this legal paperwork doesn't mean anything, then let's just do it all equal.
Yeah.
Okay? So,
yeah. If it doesn't mean anything, then let's just make it all equal right now.
On the title.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's so frustrating to watch and to listen to this. And Pligonometry, unfortunately, we joke about Pligonometry on our channel, but it is literally the way that these men control everything. And yeah, thank you. Happy birthday to our daughter. Yeah, thank you. Alicia, her name's Alicia. She is turning 32 today. And again, she's got her YouTube channel over there if you, yeah, Rosa, I'll tell you the story one day because it was a real estate thing that will blow your mind. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Yeah. I'd love to hear it.
Guten Tag to Germany. Hopefully I'm saying that right.
Yeah, Corey's currently trying to learn German.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, tuning up on the German that I learned when I was a kid. So.
Right. Well, and so yeah, I think this tell-all is going to tell a lot of different things. If you've listened to the smaller little details, like what Cody said, mm-hmm. Mary refuses to recognize the money that Robin and I have put into this property, and yet she still wants a percentage. Mm-hmm. I think that we're going to hear a lot of little things like that we'll want to put together.
Well, what I heard from that is she's still moving forward, probably hired some good lawyers in there working on putting together other paperwork that Robin's not too pleased with. So
right. And Rosa, I just read Rosa's name. And Robin is like, I don't know. I don't understand this woman, because she says one thing on TV and then like everything points to the complete opposite of what she's saying. And I can't believe that she would stand back and let Cody do a lot of these things. But I mean, somebody's got to pay for those statues in their front yard, and somebody's got to pay for all of the ridiculous stuff that these two buy.
Well, Cody did say that not very many people understand polygamy, and I would disagree. A lot of people do see what polygamy is. I think somebody commented on here. He's just unwilling to look at the ugly well, he's getting to learn the ugly parts of polygamy. He's just been able to, when the wives start to get disobedient and ask for their fair share, then now he's super frustrated because that
Right.
leaves him out in the cold. He's thinking that he should get, somebody put on here too, so he's thinking he should get half of everything that they have. But in the long run, if we're doing it fair, Cody, you should be getting a fifth of what you guys all accumulated. So
Right. Right. Well, and let's talk about this $750,000 home equity line of credit. It's called a home equity line of credit, or a HELOC. And really, that's not that big of a deal. I feel like it's being made a way bigger deal than it actually is, but it can be for people who aren't responsible with their money. And sorry, I've got my dry mouth going on really hard, so I got these new little dry mouth lozenges. I actually should tag these in case anyone else wants them. They've been super helpful for me while we're talking, because my mouth gets so dry. But what that does is, so many people are doing these HELOCs right now because we went through a period of time where the interest rates were so low that it doesn't make sense to refinance your house and take money out of it. And because your interest rate's too low. So they'll just do a HELOC or a second mortgage like that on the back end of the home. It's actually very common. Just because they took out the line of credit doesn't mean they actually took the money out of their house. It just means that it's open and available to them. It makes their house basically like a credit card, which for people like Cody and Robin could be dangerous. But a lot of people do it because it opens up, it gives them the cash to buy businesses, to buy new homes, to do whatever if they need it at the last minute. It's just an open line of credit that gives them availability. Doesn't mean that they took the full 750 out of the house. It just means that it's available there for them if they want it. They only make payments on what they've borrowed. So if they only borrow $50,000, they only make payments on $50,000. They don't make payments on $750,000. And so that's why these HELOCs can get kind of tricky. I feel like it got way blown out of proportion for what it actually is. It's really not as uncommon. Right now, I would say that's about half the loans that are going through my office are HELOCs, because people don't want to touch their first mortgage because the interest rate's just too good. And so, but they have so much equity in their house that they could be using for home improvements, to whatever. I mean, the list is endless what you could use that money for. And so the way around that is to do a home equity line of credit. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do that. You can take all the money out at once and then make payments on that, or you can just have it like be a revolving line. And I think that from what I've seen, I think theirs is a revolving line. And so, yeah, maybe one day something comes up and Cody can buy a production company that makes him look good on TV, but he needs $150,000 cash. So he runs and goes and gets that $150,000 out of his house. So hopefully that makes sense. I mean, if anyone has any questions, you can answer those.
Well, so there's a bunch of them up here.
What? Oh, you saw a couple of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I love this one. Sherry Dutcher says, yes, about the HELOC. Maybe they have to pay Mary and Janelle, but with the money they make, why would they need it? It doesn't matter if you need it or not. It's just good common I think whether you need the money or not, it's good to do it when you don't need the money, because then when you do need the money, it's available to you. When you do need the money, the bank won't give it to you. Mm-hmm. But yeah, go ahead. Throw that up in there. Do you think Cody and Robin bought Coyote Pass and they will use the line of credit to pay off Mary and Janelle? I don't think so.
I don't think so because, well, Robin might have done it, but Cody was weeping on how much pain comes from Coyote Pass. His memories up there, it's caused him so much pain because it was a dream that they all had. So, yeah, I don't think he wouldn't have went in and bought Coyote Pass. Yeah, and they'd have probably had to disclose that if it was those two buying it.
Right.
So,
right.
And to be honest with you, the way Janelle was talking, she was not wanting to lose this buyer who was going to buy it. And I think if the buyer was Cody and Robin, she wouldn't have cared. She'd probably wait around for a better offer on the property. So
Right. So no, I think Janelle was just, again, with the backdoor deal. I just think Janelle didn't want to lose the buyer. And that's the thing.
That's good.
It would never have gone. This is what's funny to me. Cody's like, oh, by mine and Robin's good graces, we paid Janelle and Mary. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to sell it with Janelle and then I'll pay them when I feel like it. That's not how that works. He would not be able to do that. It would go into what's called an escrow account, and escrow would disperse the funds. Cody would never be able to touch Mary's funds. And so that, I mean, Cody spews this little bullshit on the lives, and that's just not how that works. It would go in, and a neutral third party would disperse the funds, not Cody. Mary's money would never go into Cody's hands. So let's see. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for that super chats. It says, were you able to post the audio of the interview with Adam? I don't have Spotify, etc. Thank you in advance. Love all your input on polygamy and sister wives. I pray your mom gets more than her fair share. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we actually did post it on our channel for our members. If you're a member of our channel, then you can go listen to it. It's just audio only. It's not a video. He was so great to talk to, and we really appreciated that interview with him. And we're going to be doing another one with a couple of other people really soon. And then, yeah, we've got some good surprises too, because we've got a couple people that we're going to do. I don't want to announce it too soon, but we've got some really fun people that we're going to be interviewing.
Getting better at it.
You what?
We're practicing to get better at interviewing people.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So this will be really fun. But yeah, the audio only is on our members. It's for our members. If you click into the members only section on our channel, then you can see it right there and listen to the whole thing. So yeah, thank you. It took us a minute to figure out how to upload it to YouTube because it wasn't a video, and YouTube didn't want to accept it because it wasn't a video. So that took us a little bit of time. So yeah, Vanessa, if you're a member, yeah, thank you. Then you were the one texting or commenting to me about it. So yeah, we figured that out and got it up there for you. But yeah, Cody spews out these little things, and I think he does it just to piss the people off, just to piss off the audience, to piss off Janelle and Mary, because he's like, yeah, I'll just take all these, Janelle's trying to backdoor deal it with me, and we're like, let's make a backdoor deal. Let's just sell this property out from underneath these two, which A, he cannot do, and B, and then I'll just disperse the funds whenever I feel like it. No, that doesn't happen like that at all. So he's full of shit. So, yeah.
Well, the interesting part at the beginning of the episode, him and Robin are talking, and I feel like he's talking to himself. Okay, I can't say anything negative. We're hoping that this is the healing tour worked out. We're going into this tell-all, and we're going to be kind to each other. And then he starts to, because they don't know what each other recorded until the show comes out.
Yeah.
And so then all of a sudden he sees what the ex-wives have recorded and what they're thinking about his apology tour behind the scenes. And he instantly gets offended and goes on the attack. I'm like, oh my goodness. Yeah, he didn't really keep his word on that they were going to make this tell-all more of a peaceful, healing tell-all. He went instantly into the attack on the wives. So
yeah, no, I think he's so full of shit, and he does those little. Again, this is super common for most polygamous men that I know. They do these little stabs. We call them slivers, because they get in there and they kind of can fester and then hurt your feelings later. And he's just like, I don't know what to tell you. Janelle was going to do this to you, and Janelle's over here like, I'm not going to defend myself because I didn't do this. Yep. And this is what happens so often in polygamous families. And the man stands back and is like, my wives can't get along. I don't know what's happening. I'm like, because of you, dipshit.
Yeah, he's when they were talking about the girl games, I'm like, Cody is the instigator of those girl games. He's the one that's always, and he opens his mouth trying to make one of the wives feel bad and says stupid shit like, stupid stuff like, oh, she's a sweet, kind wife with a spine of concrete and steel, and okay, I got to make fun of that. Sorry. So I got to make fun of your belief system, buddy, for just a little bit. But
Well, and then he throws out there, okay, this is what's so stupid about these men, is he throws out this, well, Janelle's the Teflon queen. That's a complete
Gina.
blatant lie, blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, well, Janelle can do this because I loved her and I might still do. What the hell? He does not love Janelle. He just threw that out there because Janelle is the one who has no use for him. She doesn't give a crap if she likes him or not. And so he needs her approval still. And for some reason, I don't know why he still thinks he needs her approval, but now he's going to throw those little, let me throw a little hook in her and see if she responds to it. Yeah, thank you
Welcome,
so
Gina.
much. Gina ADK, thank you for becoming a member. Okay, I agree with, oh, shoot. I didn't slow down the comments. Polygamy girl games are the saddest thing ever. So this is one of the reasons why I have had more upset with the women than I have with the men in polygamy, because there are girl games. The funny part to me is that Robin thinks that she doesn't play them when she is literally the queen of girl games between her and Cody. I think that when I listen to them, she's like, so my notes for our recap are all about the psychological end of things. I swear I'm going to go get a psychology degree because it's so fascinating to me. As a small child, I would watch these women do these things to each other. And I would say to my mom, why do these women all hate each other? And my mom would say, no, you misread that. That's not true. They all love each other. I'm like, no, they don't. They are not. And so I would watch these women do this, and they're so manipulative, and they're so, not all of them, obviously, because there are some people who are there and they're genuinely just like, let's do what's best for the family, like Mary. Let's throw all my equity in from my Vegas house into Robin's house because that's what's best for the family. You've got Janelle who did the same thing. And so,
welcome, Lisa.
but people, yeah, thank you so much. Welcome, Lisa. But you've got people like Robin who are literally the queen of girl games, and it is psychological. And that's why she thinks everyone else is doing it back to her, is because she does it to everyone else. And so they pull it to Coyote Pass. They're sitting in their cars. And what does Robin say? Oh, it was a message. They were giving me a message, and they weren't. They were cold. And yet the reason why Robin believes that is because that's what she would do. She would screw with somebody else psychologically that way. And so she absolutely thinks everyone's screwing with her in girl games because that's what she does. And so it's really hard to watch it. Joseph says, I kind of feel like we are studying the psychology is what it led me out of it. So grateful for the shit show in a weird way. Mm-hmm. And it is true. And I like to look at the psychology of why people are doing what they're doing. And again, when you have all these women fiending for one man's attention and they're like almost tearing each other apart to get it, it's sad. And so, yeah, Robin is the queen of girl games. So for her to say that is it's just insane to me. Thank you so much, Locovision, for that super chat. It says, thank you for the AUB insights. Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah. Yeah. Projection is what Zoanne says. She's like, that is complete. And it's absolutely projection. I wonder how Robin reacted if she saw Cody say that he might still love Janelle. That was the first thing I said too. I was like, oh, I'll bet that just pissed Robin right off. Oh,
Well, he did go in and do the apology after that. But yeah, then he does the tell-all afterwards saying that he still might love her. But it was the whole, thank you so much, Robin, for being so loyal. And I think that's because he was saying that the other three wives have been not loyal. And that's part of their religious belief, is that the wives need to be loyal and uphold their husband or lift up their husband. So, so yeah, and then there was a comment up above that I wanted to.
which one was it? Can you see it on there?
No, it's way up here. It's
Somebody just says, I'll answer this while you're looking for that. So
Yeah.
someone says, can Cody be charged with mortgage fraud because of all the slips he did during this tell-all? Not typically, because they're going to have their ducks in a row with it. They're going to have paperwork, like legal paperwork taken care of. And again, this is why these women dig themselves in so deep, is because they make one compromised decision and then another compromised decision. And then in their back of their mind, they're like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't sign this legal binding document that says this is a gift and I can never come after this money again. Maybe I shouldn't do that. But they do it anyways. And then they do the next step anyways. So no, not necessarily can he be charged for it, because yeah, go ahead and click on it as soon as you get it, and then I'll stop talking.
I'll keep going.
But I'm sure that the loan officer who did the paperwork made sure that all of his ducks were in a row, and these women signed legal binding contracts. Says, what about Mary said she had a conversation with Robin during the catfish, and that the catfish knew what she had told Robin. Interesting. I always wondered if Robin had something to do with Mary's catfish. And
At least knowledge of it.
Yeah.
And probably trying to get all the information. Yeah, I guarantee there was some trying to get information to take to Cody to show that she's the most faithful wife. And so, and yes, then she, I think she did actually probably have connections all the way to the catfish. And then we get to start to see how Cody and Robin actually feel about what the catfishing thing. I haven't watched the season of the catfishing. I'd love to watch it again. But from what I kind of understood, it was they went through some therapy and stuff like that afterwards, but they really didn't talk too much about what Robin and Cody's feelings were about it. And now Cody's coming out and saying that, yeah,
Well, I think they were trying to not hurt Mary's reputation even more than it was already hurt. And so that now, but now they don't care.
Now they don't care. And they're coming because their belief system within the AUB is she broke her covenants. She should have never wandered from Cody's side. And because she pushed Cody out and was entertaining this catfisher on the side, him and Robin both feel like she was an adulterer. And so that's probably why he talked to the AUB to see if he could get a release from Mary based on that. And they probably said no.
Because she didn't have a physical relationship with him. Yes, it was an emotional affair, but it wasn't a physical affair. So I don't think he would be able to get a release based on that.
Yeah.
Which probably just pissed him off because he felt betrayed. Thank you so much, Jody, for that super chat. It says, please check for my email. I wanted to share about the book club. I pre-read the Imposter Catfisher book. Okay, yeah, I'm so far behind. I've been literally setting out fires all week on real estate stuff. So I have not even looked at any emails on, I haven't been very good about posting to Instagram this week either. It has been the longest week with us trying to get ready to go out of town and just stuff like that. And so I haven't read any notes to self emails, but I will catch up on them because I have probably 20 right now with questions that people want us to go back and answer. And so I will get on that. I swear. I apologize for that. But yeah, we're going to start our book club back up in February 10th. We're going to do The Sound of Gravel for this one. And the author has agreed to come on to some of our book club lives and talk to us about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm excited to hear from her personally too. And then again, we have some exciting stuff coming up. I don't want to quite announce it yet because we're just kind of talking, but, yeah, we're probably going to have a third chair in here soon and we'll have 3 of us talking on the conversation. I'm excited about it. We're trying to figure out how to do it professionally, as professionally as possible. We don't know quite how to do that yet, but, I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, there you go. They weren't protecting Mary. They were protecting the reputation of the show.
Exactly.
And themselves, because at that time she was still married, based on their belief system. So,
Yep.
yep.
Absolutely. And for somebody like Cody, that's a huge ego trip. That's hard for him. He's like, yeah.
They've been adoring him for 30 years. So it's got to be a kick to his ego to have them looking outside of their marriages. Oh, you're not happy? That just had to hit him hard that he wasn't pleasing 4 women properly. So,
Oh, somebody says Beneath the Pines is a great watch. Happy birthday, sweet girl. Thank you. Yeah, she's got Alicia, our daughter Alicia. She's turning 32 today. The owner or the founder of Holding Out Help, it's her birthday today too, and then it's Mary Brown's birthday today too. So, who even
birthday
knew?
to all of you guys.
Yeah. So Alicia, our daughter, has a YouTube channel called Beneath the Pines where she's takes you through what they're doing to build their land out there. Ah, darn it. I wanted to get to this question and it just jumped. Do you think that Christine signed an NDA about child support since court case neither party was to speak bad about each other in front of Truly? Did it go further than that? I would probably say she did, just so that she didn't, just to get it done, just to get it over with. I would say she probably did. But I don't know. I don't have any.
I think they both agreed to it, and I don't know. I would assume that she would have signed something like that to get him to sign something like that so that he would shut up about it. So, yeah. Okay, yeah, I'll agree to sign this if you agree to sign it. Now you can't talk about it there, Cody. So,
Yeah.
because he has the inability to have a conversation without trying to hurt somebody or throw somebody under the bus. So,
yeah, the tell-all, he says at the beginning, I hope there's healing. I hope there's all this stuff. And we just don't talk bad about each other. And Corey's literally has a scorecard of how many times Cody talks crap on somebody else. Yeah. So,
when they've offended him and he has to retaliate.
Right.
They're liars. They're Teflon Queen. They're this, they're that. So,
yeah.
Yep. He didn't do very good keeping his word from the beginning. We're going in here to create healing and and then he went right in there and did the opposite. So.
Oh, thank you, Jody. She says, my email is that I have the catfish PDF called Almost Married. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I will definitely respond to those. We're going to have grandbabies all weekend too. Like we're running from a complete full week right into grandbabies all weekend. It's full on snowboarding season here in Utah and my kids are huge snowboarders. And my son started the baby on her snowboard. So she's 2 and she is the cutest little bug up there on a snowboard. But sometimes they just want to go with just the adults. So we're going to have babies this weekend so that they can go just adults. But they usually do take their girls with them. Did you want to grab that one?
No, I think Rosa's answering them. So, yeah.
Yeah. So Rosa did say that she is related to Robin's sister. Yeah. Rosa, you're going to get inundated with questions now. She says she's never been a sister wife. She's related to Robin's sister. She's my sister-in-law, but I don't have any direct connections to the family. I just hear a lot from Robin's sister. We hear a lot of stuff about Robin, and we get emailed a lot. We don't talk about it necessarily on the channel because it is third-party stuff, and I don't necessarily, I don't want to get into the tit for tat type thing. So we try to be careful about what we relay out to the public, but we hear a lot of stuff. There's a lot of people who reach out to us and tell us a bunch of stuff about what's happening on the background, but we don't want to throw that out there into the sister wives nanosphere and have things blow up. Let's see. What are you saying?
Yeah, Cody isn't misunderstood. He's just a mean girl. So
yeah, Cody is I think Cody and Robin are the queen of mean girls. Yeah, we won't tell anyone. Somebody says that's hilarious.
Mean girl finally ran out of people who were willing to believe his gossip. Yep.
Yeah, no, we get a lot. let's see. Do all of Robin's siblings, sisters have legal marriages in their own marriages? It seems like that is important for Robin, because Robin had, I think, I've said this from day one when we started our channel, I think Robin had a long game going on from when she joined the family. She had this absolute idea in her mind of what she wanted and how she wanted it to be. And so she put herself into that position of being the legal wife on purpose. Again, there's a lot of recaps of Christine saying that Robin planted that idea. I don't know anyone. Robin even said, I don't know anyone who's married somebody to adopt their children either. So I think, I really truly believe that Robin did that as a long game.
Mm-hmm.
So,
somebody said here.
Okay, Shameless says, did you hear about the home equity line of credit for $750,000? Yeah, we just talked about that. Again, I think it's a smart financial move for anyone to do. You open the line of credit when you don't need it, so that when you do need it, it's available to you. It just depends on how you are with money. If you're not good with money and you just are going to blow through the $750,000, then that sucks. But
or if you're investing it in dolls, that's a good investment plan. So
I mean, maybe she's planning on retiring all that. I don't know. But yeah, so it's really not, most people, I've had a couple content creators reach out to me about this HELOC. So did Robin and Cody have a legal marriage in the AUB church? No marriages in the AUB church are legal.
Nope.
They're just spiritual marriages. You have to go outside of the AUB church in order to
legally get married.
And you know, want to hear, this is actually kind of sad. My dad has the ability to legally marry people, but there was a time when he decided he stopped doing it and would send them to Corey's brother, because he didn't want to marry certain minority groups of people. And he couldn't maintain his license and be segregating like that, racist like that. So he stopped marrying people because he had a couple people come to him that wanted to get married, and he did not agree with their race or the color of their skin, so he chose not to marry them. So he stopped marrying people legally for that reason. So racism is strong and well in the AUB. Let's see. Thank you so much. Oh, Jody's like blowing up our super chats. Thank you, Jody. Personally, for the book club, I wouldn't have everyone pay $14. We could just review it. Yeah, we were going to throw a link on our site where you can go purchase the book if you want to, or the audio book for it. If you decide you want to do that to follow along, it's a small enough book that I think we're going to bust through the book pretty quickly. Yeah. I think we're going to be able to get through it in about 3 weeks is kind of what we're shooting for. Let's see. Random old lady says, do men in the polygamy ever honestly apologize? Not in my experience, but I'm sure that there are some who have that experience. Corey, you feel like your dad did.
Yeah.
We just talked about this the other day.
To the appropriate people, to those people, I feel like he came and apologized to everybody he felt like that he hurt, that he could talk to and everything. He didn't necessarily go and apologize to the leadership or to the that they felt was necessary so that he would come back in good standings. I guess at the end some people talked for him, and he was able to, I don't even know if I can say it, but rebaptized into the AUB at the very end of his life. So
yeah,
but he felt like that he went around and apologized to those people that he felt like he
and he did get rebaptized, right, into the AUB.
Did.
So he died,
but
he passed a faithful member of the AUB.
But if you were to talk to the AUB, I don't think they would agree with that, because one of the leaderships rebaptized him, but not all the leadership agreed. So
that's right. I forgot about that. It was very, and what's funny is what's not funny. What's interesting is when Corey's father passed, one of the things is you're buried in your temple clothes. And people showed up at the funeral to ensure that he was not buried in his temple clothes. But because he had been baptized right before he passed, he'd been rebaptized as a good, faithful member of the AUB. He was able to be buried in his temple clothes.
Yeah.
And then one of his boys went and tied a fishing lure onto some of his temple clothes, which then caused a huge upset.
More upset within the community because he loved to fish, and one of my brothers would tie flies for him to go fishing, and so
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Says Mel, did you know that Christine's father passed away? Yes. My mom tried so hard to talk me into going to the funeral with her, and just with everything that's happened with my dad lately, for those of you that don't know, my dad did a post about me on Christmas Day at 8 p.m. at night. He's fuming over me for some reason. And, I just didn't feel like I wanted to go on AUB property at that point. The funeral was held at the same building as my dear friend that passed, that my dad had an altercation with me in front of everyone. And I just feel like he is at the point where he's so angry with me that he would cause a scene at someone's family funeral. And I didn't want to be that reason that he would cause that scene at Rex's funeral. So
out of respect of the family,
I'd opted not to go, even though my mom was begging me to go, guilt tripping me to go. I just didn't feel like that would be very fair to do that to the family if my dad was there and decided to cause a scene. And I just feel like, so I did not go, but my mom did go. And she said it was beautiful. I've seen a ton of pictures all over social media about it. It looked like a beautiful funeral. Always hit, and then I'll stop talking.
This is my little sister. So
Go ahead.
when Dad got older, he did try. I think he knew his life was coming to an end, and he was trying to find a little peace at the end. He was trying to make amends to a lot of his family and kids. So
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with you. So yeah, I definitely, I'm sad for Christine. I read her post that she did on social media and commented on it. Because, Rex was like a big brother to my mom. So my mom did get to hug and love on Christine, and she said it was a very sweet funeral. And I was kind of sad as my mom's telling me about it and telling me everyone she saw. I was a little bit like, oh, that would have been nice to go and see people. But again, I can't do that to a family. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to get.
show this one too. Is it?
I was just getting to that one. That's hilarious.
Is it normal for sister wives to have covenants with each other as well as the husband? So in the religion, Section 132 of the Doctrine and Covenants says that the wives will perform what's called the Law of Sarah, where they hand the new wife over to their husband in the Law of Sarah and covenant with them, basically give that wife to her husband. And if they don't do that, then they are not in harmony with their husband. And within the section 132 of the Doctrine and Covenants, then they can be destroyed if they're not in harmony with their husband. So, yeah, you don't want to get destroyed, so you better get in harmony with your husband and hand him a new wife and covenant with her that you guys will be forever. So,
Yeah.
yes, the wives to be in harmony with the family and with the husband make a covenant with the new wife, and she makes a covenant with them that they will be together forever. Yay.
Yeah, and I've heard somewhere, I can't remember where I read this, but somebody was saying that Mary had mentioned something that she had a covenant with Robin. Is that what you just were talking? Yeah, but Mary and Robin had their own covenant between each other.
Yeah, they felt like that they had always known each other or something like that. I don't know the whole story. It was basically, I don't know. You'd have to talk to them, but yeah, they're supposed to, because Mary was the one that was bringing Robin in as an interested party into the family. She would have been probably fulfilling the law of Sarah by bringing in the new wife. Although I'm curious if it was her handing over Robin.
No,
to
because it
Cody,
would have
or
been Christine. It's
Christine.
always the last
Yeah,
wife,
last
who
wife
hands
does
the
So
new
that they
wife to
can-
the husband.
so that they can fulfill the law of Sarah.
Right.
It's just the last wife that doesn't usually get to fulfill the law of Sarah by giving a wife. So,
Right, right. And so, and I know a lot of people, that's going to confuse a lot of people, but one of the things that part of the ceremony is that you will take the new wife's hand and you will give it to your husband as they join hands, and then they are married, you know, through the sealing thing. And so that is part of the fulfillment. So Christine would have done that because she was the last wife, and so Mary would have done that with Janelle. Janelle would have done that with Christine, and Christine would have done that with Robin. So,
and if Cody and Robin had showed up to the release party, Robin probably could have performed the taking the hand away.
oh my
and
gosh.
releasing Mary and Janelle back out into the world. So
Yeah.
probably doesn't happen that way. Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't. So Blessed Canadian says, cannot wait for the Sound of Gravel book club.
Yeah.
And your take on her experience. From what I'm reading right now in it, I'm super interested in it because it's what's going on down there in Mexico, how they're living, and kind of, I'm guessing she's probably around the same age as I am, how everything's going in that community down there versus what I grew up in. So we heard rumors growing up. We were always scared of LeBarons, so, and the LeBaron group, to stay away from them because they were extra serious about blood atonement. But
Yeah, we were.
yeah,
No, see, I wanted to answer this one. Was Rex still in the AUB? He only had 2 wives, and one actually left, and actually one after Annie left. No planet for him. Well, he'll have in the
yeah, he was still part of the AUB.
yeah. As far as I know, he still lived on AUB property. He was buried in the AUB cemetery, and so yeah. I do believe he was still in good standing. He just, not everybody gets 3 wives. They'll have in the millennium where they can decide
Be sealed
to other people. He might have been sealed to other people. We just don't know. Are there no teachings that say a husband must be respectful to all of his wives? Not that I'm aware of. But
No,
you would know that more.
no,
than me.
he's supposed to be respectful to all of his wives. Now, if but the wife is also supposed to be respectful to his decision, and so if
For his decision
Yeah.
or his command
or
his
yeah.
demand.
And so if he's basically saying, do you want more children? They're saying, no, I think I'm done here. Then his decision can be, okay, then we're not going to be physical anymore. And you're just going to be a mother to my children, but don't necessarily being put out to pasture. And so it's okay for a guy to say, yeah, well, then I'm going to put my energy into the younger wives, and you'll just have to I'll be over here every 4th day to get a massage and to get relaxed so I can go take care of the younger wives. But yeah, for you and me, we're kind of done and over with. And she is supposed to respect that decision. So
Yeah. And if she doesn't, then she's not in harmony with her
not in
husband.
harmony with, and he feels like a decision like that is based on spiritual principle, and she should just be okay with it, and type thing. So
Yep. Yep. Thank you so much. So Blessed Canadian says for that super chat. Thank you. She says, cannot wait for the Sound of Gravel book club and your take on her experiences. Yeah, I'm curious to read it too, because we did grow up in fear of LeBarons.
Of the LeBaron group.
And
they did too, apparently.
Yeah. And I actually have been talking quite a bit with one of the daughters of who did the Hulu special, Daughters of a Cult. And her and I chat quite often. I really appreciate her. And yeah, it's interesting to hear their take on it too, because, they were afraid of their own father. And so I think it's going to be an interesting book. We're gonna do book club quite a bit, so we're gonna get to quite a few different books.
Yeah, my understanding so this is where I'm interested in the book, because my understanding of it is because a lot of the LeBaron group, and they lived back and forth between Mexico and America, just like some of the AUB does too.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the murders that went on, there was quite a few murders that went on, or blood atonements that went on before they killed Rulon. And those they just didn't get solved. It's just polygamous people killing each other. So why worry about it?
It's like mafia style.
And so it wasn't until rival leaders are now killing each other and it became big news here in the United States that something was actually done with it. But they got away with, they did a lot of those murders without having any repercussions.
Yeah, no one was held accountable for it. And that's what we're saying. For my dad to call me out like that on Christmas Day and say I'm a multiple covenant breaking adulteress, that is a call for blood atonement. It really truly is. And this is something that we've lived with our entire lives, and you don't realize how scary it is till it hits your front door, and then you're like, hell.
And he would argue, some of them would argue, well, AUB has never done that.
We won't make accusations, but
the AUB has never done that. It was these other groups that did it, and so there's no need to worry. But just don't want a first time thing to happen.
I want to get to this one. Sugar Inos says, I wonder if there are wives who gladly hand their husband to their sister wife and say, he's your problem now. I'll bet you there are. I'm not even kidding. I'll bet you that they are.
Tag, you're it.
Yeah. And then Sherry Dutcher says, I watched some of her interviews on Cults to Consciousness for the Sound of Gravel. Oh, thank you. I'm going to go check those out. I haven't checked those out yet.
Yes. Jen says this. I want to do this one. Boom. Talking about blood atonement reminds me of Big Love. Would you ever do a watch and review of the show? We would love to. I haven't watched it for years, and I loved the show. I was laughing throughout the whole thing, and comparing real life experiences to what they'd put into the show.
We would always sit there and go, oh, I wonder who that's about.
Yep.
And then we'd be like, oh, I know who that story's about. Oh, I know who that story's about. And again, it's been hypothesized that the show was based around my dad and his wives. And my dad.
The book, The Lonely Polygamous was, and then they took from that and other areas to create Big Love.
Yeah. So they took, Brady Udell wrote the book, The Lonely Polygamist, and he based it around a polygamous character, which they believe was my dad and his wives. And then if you've seen our Instagram channel, I posted a copy of the magazine cover that my dad did back in 1992. And I'm in the back. You can see me and my ex-husband and our little baby. He was so I would have been 17 at the time, maybe barely 18. And then my dad and his 4 wives at the time and a bunch of the kids. And my sister has an actual copy of this magazine. So we're going to try to she's trying to find it right now because she knows she has a copy of it. And then I'll post the whole magazine. But we want to do Big Love again. So my dad watched Big Love with all of his wives. My mom's on here. She can tell you how fun that was. The very first episode with all of his wives. and a bunch of news reporters. And so the first sex scene came on and my dad instantly went, "What the hell?" and turned it off. And he was like, "Yeah, we're not watching that." But then he would
That's
sneak
not how
over to
it
our
is.
house on Sunday nights after church and he would watch it with us because he was so curious as to the storyline and the story play on it. And so we would watch that show and laugh. We were just like, no way. This is no way are they, because they're just so raw and real about it. And like everyone's thinking, this is not, no way could this happen in real life. Oh yeah, it did. And they just televised, they just made it into a drama series and it's real. So,
Well, the interesting part too is back when we were watching it the first time, I didn't know that he had done an interview with Brady Udell. So,
yeah.
and so he's sitting there watching it with us, probably going, "Shoot, this is a storyline I told or something that I did here," and I'm just sitting there trying to guess who that was based after, never even thinking it was. Now that you say that, I'm like, oh yeah, makes complete sense.
Well, and
No
somebody,
wonder your dad was offended that they would say that he had, because the main character's taking Viagra,
I know, right?
and he's getting all offended about that. But
Yeah,
probably
someone
the
just
truth.
said Christine's dad was the car dealership owner in Big Love. Yes, that's exactly who they were talking about, is Christine's dad, in our opinions. I mean, again, we could be wrong. We're just telling you from our experience. And then, yes, and then there's the home store center. And yes, that was a prophet that was 2 prophets ago. And he was the one who owned the home store center. And so, yeah, what they would do is they'd take experiences from all of the different polygamous communities, and then they put them into one show. It's hilarious. Let's see, I wanted to get to this one. Is there anything about the AUB religion that you miss? I'm referring to any type of traditional parts of service that the horrible things that they do. I hope that makes sense. It actually, I miss the community sometimes. There's a lot of really, like, outside of being sister wives, there's a lot of really good women that I really do appreciate. I miss a lot of my friends. I was, again, really sad about this funeral because I feel like before I started speaking out, I could go back if I want, not go back to the religion, but I could go to a funeral. I could go to a wedding. I could go to these things and I would be okay to still go. And now that we have our channel, I feel like there's definitely a severance there. And this is a new experience for me. It's hurt my heart a lot, actually, especially because I know where I get my people pleasing from. I want to be able to go and love on my friends and family. And then when my mom came back and was telling me all of the people that she had an experience with, and yeah, it kind of hurt my heart a little bit because the community, a lot of the dances, I miss a lot of that. Not enough to go be immersed in the level of toxicity that there is, because it's so toxic. But I do miss, sometimes I miss the level of how naive I was to things. And I could just go and be with my friends and go and be with my family members. And I never would ever wish to go back to that level of being naive, but there's a certain like nostalgia there,
Well,
I guess, when you don't know better, you know?
When you're a young kid, yes, going to the dances, being able to hang out with friends, dance with all the people from the community, all of that stuff. It's as we grew older and had kids of our own that were like, wait a minute, there was
That sense of community.
yeah, there was stuff that was off about the dances because there's I felt like older men there
Meat marketing,
yeah, but to be able to go over there as kids and hang out and dance and meet and greet everybody, so yes, miss that. I did appreciate, I mean, I grew up in a household with 10 adults, and so if I was hurt or if there was something, I needed something, there was always somebody there that I could go and ask help for. So help about.
Yeah, so definitely I feel like, because even when my dear friend passed back in August, I felt like I could go to her funeral, no problem. Rex's funeral is the first time that I have felt like I couldn't go. And that's weighed heavy on me this week. I think between all the fires I had to put out at work this week, and then that has been really heavy on me. I've been kind of in a little bit of a funk this week, which is another reason why we haven't gotten our recap out, is because I've been kind of in a funk about it. Because I feel like I've drawn a line in the sand and it's there now, and I don't regret it. Because I feel like we need to speak out about the things that are happening, but there still is that loss of community. There still is that loss of, yeah. And if you ever look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, belonging, sense of community is one of those needs. And so, yeah, I've been a little melancholy about it this week for sure. I'm trying to.
What kind of dances did we dance? I'm guessing it wasn't break dancing like Robin. No, it was not break dancing. No. In fact,
it's ballroom dancing.
Yeah, ballroom dancing
or hoedown, like
country.
Yeah, like
line dancing,
barn
things
dancing,
like that. Yeah,
country dancing.
Yep.
And no, they were very strict about the music that was able to be played. They were very strict about what kind of dances you could do, what you could wear to the dance. You had to be very careful about your clothing. And yeah, there was never any.
Because most of the dances were held within the community center or the church house. Ours was, you had the church house at the front of the building and then a gym in the back of the building. And that gym was usually set up, but it was all one building. And so you had to dress like you were coming to church. So to respect the building, the house of the Lord, you had to respect it. And so, there were dress standards all the way around. And if you showed up not dressed appropriately, you'd be asked to leave. So many of my brothers and I got asked to leave because we'd show up with, two of my brothers would show up with free T-shirts that you didn't. And
with 80s hairband rock music on
rock
them.
music on it, and they were asked to leave. So you had to come in with long sleeves and shirt buttoned up to your neck. Yeah.
Which I never had an issue dressing appropriately for it. I loved them. They were some of my very favorite experiences to go to, and I looked forward to them all the time. My best friend and I would make our own dresses all the time to go. So they were for us being the naive children, we loved it. All right.
Yes, I can.
What'd you say?
Can
Corey 2-step or 4-step ballroom dance?
I can.
We all can. Yeah.
We
And there's
had to
times
learn
I
the
tell him that.
dances.
I'm like, I wish so bad we would have known each other while we were in the AUB, because that would have been fun to be able to dance with him. Which we never did because we were both out of the AUB before.
Interested in each
And you're
other.
like such a smooth dancer too. Now we just have to do it in our kitchen, which is still fine. Like, I don't mind that, but
We need to go out dancing sometime.
I know, right? I think we'd have fun. We're old enough now. We hopefully won't break a hip.
Yep.
So
Yeah, they would have, sometimes a community would have dance lessons where you could go over there and somebody would teach us, you grab a partner and teach us how to dance. So that as we were growing up, we weren't stepping on the ladies' feet. So
And we had to learn too. I mean, we literally did the books on our head thing as we were learning to walk around. All right. Did the AUB ban the show? Not that I'm aware of. Nope. I just think that they banned the Big Love, or they
did who ban it?
did AUB ban Sister Wives or Big Love? Not that I'm aware of. Most people just stopped watching Big Love because of the sex scenes in them. But other than that, I don't think that it was banned. I think people just chose not to watch.
Well, I don't necessarily think the AUB didn't used to ban stuff. They would just recommend that you don't watch, that it's of the world, that this wasn't really how it was. These guys are sensationalizing and that's not how it is. And I mean, I started watching Big Love, and it was interesting to see that they were all 3 different houses on the same street. I'd never seen that version of it. We all lived in the same house, so where you guys kind of lived more like that, where a wife had their
Well,
own
and then my
house.
dad and his brother built homes next door to each other so that
Yeah.
they could raise their kids together.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay, I want to answer this question, but I don't know who this person is, so I apologize. Looped Tape says, was Heber Jenskins a part of the AUB at some point? He's a high-level Scientologist who recently passed away, but they said he was from a polygamous Mormon family with many wives and many kids. I've never heard of him, so I don't know. I don't believe he was part of the AUB.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to grab that one out there. I'm gonna try. Okay, Diana Farr, thank you so much for that super chat. She says, I listened to The Sound of Gravel at work the other day. It's an amazing book. Thank you for that recommendation. Yeah, I'm excited to read it. I definitely think we'll be able to probably get through it in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Oh,
What?
Jan Bellard. That was nice.
Let's see. What did it say? I said months ago that you both are like PhDs in psychology emeritus candidates because of your insights into sister wives. I have a bachelor's in psychology and you are both amazing on a high level. Thank you. That's nice.
Analyzing.
Oh, analyzing on a high level. Oh, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
It's fascinating to me. I've always wanted to understand why people do what they do. It doesn't excuse their behavior by any means, but I feel like when you can understand why someone does what they do, maybe you can have a little bit more empathy for them. And again, does not excuse the behavior, but it gives us a little bit of an insight. And then it also helps me to how do I show up like that in life? And can I heal that part of me so that I'm not wounding other people with that? So yeah, it's fascinating to me. And where we come from families, we were talking about it the other day. I'm like, between the two of us, we have 80 siblings. That's a lot of dynamics going on all the time and energy that goes on between groups of people. And yeah, it's fascinating. It's just fascinating to listen to. Random old lady says, your dad makes me think of a spoiled child on social media throwing a tantrum. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sherry Dutcher says, I'm reading Escape by Carolyn Jessup. She talks about the dances and the older men that show up looking for sister wives. And honestly, I felt that as a child too. I really did. I felt like if a man came and asked me to dance, I had to say yes. I didn't feel like I could say no. Again, there's part of my people pleasing that comes out. And it was awkward. I had a couple of men tell me, what's that perfume you're wearing? That's always going to be your scent from now. And I'm like, oh, okay, that feels weird. And yeah, it was definitely, but you got kind of good at seeing when a man was walking towards you, and then you could just beeline another direction. And or I'd grab my brother. My brother and I were like so close, and I would grab my brother and take him out on the floor, and we would go dance. And so, or I would tell my big brother, I'd say, this guy keeps looking at me and asking me to dance. If you see him coming my direction, and my big brother would just swoop right in and grab me and dance with me so that I didn't have to go through that again. So
I wanted to answer this one. No, let's see. Now I don't see it now, but basically did Robin...
I know the comments jump so fast that you're trying to...
So it's Cruz, but basically did Robin dance that when I saw the thing when she's break dancing, I'm assuming when she's doing that, she's probably newly married or just before she got married. I didn't know Robin. I knew Robin when she was younger, and then their family moved down south. So my younger sisters were her age. They're the ones that knew Robin at that time. But break dancing or...
No, you were not allowed to do that.
Yeah, as part of the AUB, that would have been considered worldly, and to listen to that kind of music, I would have gotten in trouble for listening to that kind of music growing up. Her dance that she was dancing to. So yeah, that wasn't something that within the community of Pinesdale, there wasn't a lot of people that were doing that. I mean, you could have done it. It looked like she was doing it in a house, probably with some friends or something
Yeah.
like that. So, but yeah, I didn't know what break dancing was back then. So,
Nope.
yeah.
Well, and truthfully, a lot of people are like, how did Robin and Cody meet? Honestly, dances are kind of, the courtships are so short in the AUB, and dances are kind of the way where you still 2 or 3 minutes alone with someone. And then that's where you talk. That's where you get to know each other a little bit. Of course, the whole world is watching while you're doing this, but you're able to have that one-on-one connection with somebody, and then you walk away all Twitter-pated and in love with this man, and you think about him all the time, and then the next Sunday you go sit by his family in church, and that's kind of how dances are a little bit of a way where there are some people. I saw Rosa say that her husband proposed to her at a dance. So that, yeah, the dances are the way that you mingle. Does the AUB or LDS believe in the same saints that the Catholics do, or revere people like Mother Teresa?
Yes and no. They, within a lot of their teachings, they believe that the priesthood was passed on through Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Peter. Those that they believe in those people as leaders of the original church, and that Joseph Smith brought the church back to the world in its fullness, and those prophets were the ones that gave them the keys to the priesthood. As far as the saints of the Catholic Church, no, we weren't taught too much about those. We heard about Mother Teresa, and that she was an amazing woman, so, and was kind and loving, and was acting as Christ. And so I had some of my parents that were part of the Catholic Church, and so every time they picked a new pope, they would get on TV to see who the new pope was and things like that. But not that they necessarily believed that the pope was they were believing that the new prophets, Joseph Smith on down, were the people who had got the new keys to the church, but they still wanted to see what was going on within the Catholic Church. So yeah, we used to watch, I remember little watching, waiting for the white smoke to come out of the stack to see if they'd picked a new pope, but that was just more for some of our older mothers had been Catholic, so.
Well, and I feel like they were very interested even in any church,
Religion.
the LDS church, the Catholic church, even in other different polygamous sects. They wanted to see who, everyone would pay very close attention
Yep.
to it, because you wanted to know, back in the 80s and 90s, Owen Allred was the leader of the AUB, and he did have some one-on-one conversations with the leader of the LDS church. So not to say that they would ever have one-on-one conversations with like the Pope or anything like that, but they did try to work together. And so it was kind of a big thing. People wanted to pay attention. Like, which direction is the church going to be led by this leader? Are they going to be more liberal? Are they going to be more conservative? Are they going to be more follow doctrine to a T? Like, what is it? So a lot of people would follow that. At least that's how it was for us growing up. Let's see. I know. I see. Thank you so much, Marley D, for that super chat. I saw your question about seeing your dad. I'm trying to catch up on some of these. So seeing your dad after the first time of no contact after 5 years, that's a big one. What I would say is that I don't know that I'm the greatest person for advice for this, but what I would say is get very centered in who you are, so that when you are, I mean, even go outside, put your feet on the ground, get yourself grounded very strongly in who you are before you go, because unfortunately, when you go into energy like that, and somebody asked me if we were Scientologists because of this. No, we're not. When we did ayahuasca, we learned about the energies and the frequencies of people. Everyone has energy. And so when we get her, and Mary even said, Cody F's with her energy. So our parents can F with our energy. So this is why I would get very solid and very sure of who you are. When you see your parent, you have both feet planted firmly on the ground. You have them faced forward, not one going off in one direction where it's like, oh, I'm going to run away this direction. You're very solid in where you are and who you are. And then that way your energy gets less effed with. Hopefully that makes sense. I know that when I go to these types of events, that's what I try to do. I listen to, I do some meditating. I listen to some harmonic sounds. I put my feet on the ground. And then when I get in front of somebody who I feel like is going to give me some level of reaction, I have both feet planted firmly on the ground. And I feel like that's probably the thing that keeps me the most straight or most aligned with myself, so that I'm not running off in my mind or my thoughts or my emotions. I'm very solid. And so that's what I would recommend. That's what I do if I, and she said, yes, going in with a loving partner now, he's going to be my anchor. Great. Yeah. I was just going to say, if you have a partner, it's funny because I feel like we are now at the point where it's almost an unspoken thing for us, but when we first got together, I'd be like, okay, this is going to be a tricky situation. Will you watch me or I watch him whenever we go somewhere? And then if, again, there's ways that you can touch your partner that anchors them and secures them. And like we watched Cody try to do with Mary. He tried to, and that was a bullying tactic. But you as a loving partner or an anchor can go up and if you see your partner emotionally struggling and you can put your hand on them. And I've done that to Corey a lot. If I see him like struggling emotionally, then I'll just walk up to him and I just stand there next to him with my feet solid on the ground. Yep. And then, be like, I don't even have to say anything. It's just like, you got this. I believe in you. And so that would be how I would approach it, honestly. And good luck. All of our thoughts are
also acknowledging that, I mean, these were our parents, and so they were in our eyes a parent figure that sometimes I felt intimidated or worried about how they were going to think about me or feel about me. And then to be able to go in there and going, hey, we're both adults now. I'm my own person. And so, and recognizing the triggers that the parents are, I mean, they raised you. They know what can trigger you. And so just noticing what words or what things they say that can trigger you and go, nope, I'm not going to be triggered by that. So I know who I am now. So,
well, and we've said this on our channel before, there's the power of the pause. If something is said that triggers you, pause. There's no amount of time that you have to demand a response. You take a couple really deep breaths, belly breaths, and then you respond with something. But when you take those deep breaths, it recenters you as well. So that's what I do. And that's why when my dad came at me at my friend's funeral, I just put my hand on his shoulder because I was standing, he was sitting. I put my hand on his shoulder and like, yeah, you don't get to talk to me like that. Took a couple deep breaths and then walked away. So it's really just about you. It has nothing to do with him. It's all about you and grounding and getting aligned and centered in yourself.
And she stood in her power and her authority and her knowing that, and he basically, that he's used to people kind of bowing down to his presence, I think.
yeah, 'cause he's
pushing.
big.
He's got a big
presence.
energy too. And when she didn't, that ruffled his feathers too. And so he was the one throwing the tantrum, and she just acted like the adult and nope, this isn't going to happen, and turned around and walked away, and everybody was looking around like, who's the parent here? So
Yeah.
yeah, it was awesome to watch.
Lamb 59 says, thanks, Mel, Corey, and this podcast. I'm going back to college taking psych and sociology classes. This
Nice.
podcast has taught me so much. Oh, I love that. I've honestly really thought about doing that just so that I can have more, articulate terms of what we're speaking about. I
Yeah.
love that. Thank you.
Yeah, so we're using fancier words instead of just, damn, that guy's a dumb shit.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Sugar Nose says, I'm curious about your spirituality now. What daily practices do you do, etc.? Maybe you guys could do a video on that one day. Yeah, we absolutely are. I have a reminder set on my phone every day to meditate. I don't always get it done every day, but I have, we are almost empty nesters, so we have a little bit of extra space. So one of the rooms, I would go in there and do my meditations in there. And so I think that has been huge for me to center myself.
Some of the things that I was taught as a kid, I guess, our parents kind of required us to read scriptures and they pray. They had us praying and doing our morning and nightly prayers and things like that. I feel like I've just adjusted those. Instead of reading those scriptures, I'm reading something that is interesting to me, something that empowers me, something. So I'm still constantly reading, and then I again meditate, find a quiet place to calm down my mind and relax my body. And so I think I would say that I still do a lot of things I was trained to as a kid. I just have switched them up. I read what I want to read, what I feel like empowers me. I sit in my meditation chair and get a good massage. So I replace that with prayer. So
Yeah.
so I still do constantly talk to my maker. I just don't do it in the rhythmic way I used to as a kid. So
Yeah. And another thing too, oh, thank you for this response. She said, Marley says, I love that. Stand in your power. My dad is like that. And he has temper tantrums too. I can so relate. This is great advice. Thanks to you both. Yeah. I think another thing is to have your partner sometimes stand behind you.
yep.
Maybe not just all the way to the side, stand behind you. And when your feet are both planted, when you get thrown off by a comment, you don't physically stumble because both
Yep.
feet are planted firmly. And when your partner can sometimes I would come up from behind. I remember going into the AUB
Yeah.
building up in Montana once when we were first newly married, and someone had come up to you to say something. And I was like, oh, hell no. And I saw this from, I was sitting with his mother somewhere and I saw it. And I walked right up to you and I just put my hand on your back and I
Yep.
stood behind you.
To support.
And I didn't even say anything. I just stood there for a second. And then that conversation ended like that. And that
Yep.
person walked away. And I don't know if you even remember that, but we were up there at the AUB building in Pinesdale where, Corey has literally been kicked off that ranch. And so it was like, what are you doing in our building type of thing? So yeah, I think it's awesome if you have a partner that can be that supportive of you. I think that's so great. And obviously boundaries are so important for your own peace of mind too. We're seeing Mary flex a lot of her boundaries online too, which I think is awesome to watch her do that. I'm proud of her. You can see all of these women are healing. And I use the show as an example because most people have seen them. You can see that these women are healing and they are deconstructing, and they're not all doing it the same. Mary's doing it her way, Janelle's doing it her way, Christine's doing it her way. And I think that's what's so awesome about it is eventually maybe they'll heal some of the, Christine will come around to healing some of the stuff Mary's healing right now, or Mary will heal some of the stuff that Janelle's healing. It'll come full circle eventually, but I really appreciate watching these guys heal.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me try to.
Yeah, that one's cool. I read lots of books, but I think I've said this on the live before. My favorite book, or the book that had the most impact, I feel like with me, was The Four Agreements. So that's the one I constantly am reading or listening to. Probably 2 or 3. I used to do it at least once a month, but 2 or 3 times
Yeah, our kids
year
gave
for
us
sure.
this little pack that just has like
Yeah.
little cards that you can take one little card out per day and read about it. So we have this just literally sitting right here on the desk, right in front
it
of us.
reminds me of my 4 agreements.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's definitely, honestly, I feel like, and the thing is okay, here's something I'll definitely say. If you have an experience with somebody and you feel knocked off balance or knocked off center, I think never beat yourself up about that. Know that you did the best you could in that moment with what you had. I feel like when we beat ourselves up, that's worse than the experience that we just went through. And so if you don't live in the shame and guilt about it, be like, okay, I saw this. How did I fall? How did I get knocked off my center? I'm going to do that differently next time. And then you take the experience as a stepping stone and a learning experience instead of going, dang it, I let that guy screw with me again.
Yeah.
And believe me, I do this plenty. But then you just walk away going, okay, next time I'm gonna be aware of this, and then you don't allow that to happen again. Somebody says Brene Brown's audiobooks are my tether like that. She was my go-to. Yeah. I absolutely adore Brene Brown's work. I think she does fantastic work. Let's see.
Oh, yes. Thanks, Nicole.
Oh, yeah.
220 likes.
Please go subscribe and check out the merch. Thank you.
Watching.
Thanks,
Man,
Nicole.
I didn't even see that.
Loop Tape says, I learned a lot of working with families in social work and an emotionally abusive marriage I'm glad I've healed from. By the way, my own therapy, those I worked with, and advocacy folks, I've unlearned so much. And I think that's the key right there, is unlearning all the things we've been programmed with childhood. So, Lamb says, Mary and Jen on the couch are great together. I think they're hilarious. I love how Suki will say something to Mary and Jen's like, let's talk about that. Why don't we talk about that? Let's see, I'm going to try to catch up here. Let's see, did you have something else you were?
No, I just think Jen and I might have similar senses of humor. So,
Yeah, I think she's hilarious.
yeah, she's got a great sense of humor, especially when it comes to, why would you go back into that headache?
Yeah.
You're still talking to him?
Yeah.
Oh, but
Okay, probably Melissa
care
says,
of
found your
yourself,
channel
Melanie.
recently, appreciate how authentic you are. I was raised atheist and was pulled into Christianity of sorts when I had my first baby. Yeah, I think, religion it's tricky because for some people it is so healing. And for other people, it's something you have to heal from. I think it depends on the level of shame and guilt, I feel like, when you have your experiences with any type of religion. Thank you so much, Erica Marika, 1090. Thank you so much for that super chat. It says, take care of yourself, Melanie. Yeah, this week I did have some emotional attachment to some stuff that was happening. I was really sad about feeling that permanent, like that severance. Severance was the word that I was kind of feeling this week. And I've had some people pop off at me about my channel that are still really good AUB members and really support AUB. And I understood that they were coming from their perspective. I didn't try not to take it personally. But yeah, this definitely feels a little bit different of a severance. And it's kind of been heavy on my heart. So let's see.
oh, she was talking. OG.
It says there's so much to learn from kids. Oh yeah, I think when you went to hit it, it jumped.
Yeah. That's the one I wanted to do.
Go ahead, you can read it.
The OG3 are all healing and getting better. Mary expresses her disappointment that Cody isn't getting any better. The interesting part about Cody is I feel like he's probably going through some sort of, like you said, guru. He's being told these are the proper ways to do things. This is how you communicate with people. This is how you don't escalate situations, things like that. So he's hearing all the words. He just doesn't know how to implement them.
Yeah.
And he keeps going back to his old training where he's like, okay, this is love, this is healing. We're going in there to create
All good
peace
things,
among
all good things,
yeah.
goodwill.
So he's being told and repeating what he's being told he should be doing. He just doesn't quite know how to flip the switch and implement them into his life so that he's actually, instead of just saying that he's doing some of the healing things that he should be doing. And so he really is, they couldn't say it better, that Cody says a lot of nice words, a lot of pretty things of what he wants to happen. He just never implements them. I'm going to go in here and not say anything mean about Mary's friends or my ex-wives, and then he goes in and they trigger him, and he doesn't know
It's
how
the
to.
first thing he does.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to respond to it. So when they trigger him with making fun of him or making fun of Robin, then he just goes after him again. And so he just does not. He hasn't quite figured out how to implement what he's learning into his life yet. So.
And yeah, definitely he's seeing somebody. What's funny is my dad used to say that, and my mom's on here. Mom, I'm going to talk about you for a minute. My dad would say all the time, your mom, when my mom first left my dad, she was bitter. She was toxic. She was angry. She was really, really angry person. And it was hard to be around at times. I had many conversations with her about it. And I don't blame her for feeling the way that she did. I really don't. But it was hard to be around sometimes. And my dad would say, I don't understand it. Your mom's been through all of these trainings. She's done all these healings. And yet, look at her. She hasn't learned anything. She's still just a bitter old lady. And it's funny because now my mom has moved through that. She's not that person anymore. She's moved through that healing. And she's in a wholly different place now, like completely different place. And she's been healing things with her children. And she's been healing things, like, hey, I'm sorry for what I love Shalisa's comment on cults to consciousness, where she's like, I'm sorry for what I said when I was in a cult. And I feel like that's where my mom is right now with her children. She's like, I'm sorry that I didn't protect you more. I'm sorry that, and she's making amends with her children. And my dad's the one throwing social media temper tantrums and trying to call me out, and he's angry and he's bitter and he's barking at people now. And so it just cracks me up because he wants to, I'm watching Cody do the same thing with his wives. He's gone through the angry stage, and now he's like, well, let's dial it back a little bit. Let's play nice, after he just throws a bunch of darts at these women and talks crap on these women. And I feel like my dad's kind of in that same spot right now with my mom. And I'm watching how my mom has gone through her healing stages. It is not easy when you've devoted your entire life to a religion or a cult, it's not easy to walk away from that. You have to look at your life and say, what was my life for? What was my life about? And for years I told my children this was true, and now I'm telling them it's not. Like, how do you reconcile some of that inside of you? But it's interesting to watch my parents go through this, and my dad throw his little angry elf tantrums all over social media. And watching my mom be on this side of it now, and watching the peace and the healing that she's going through. It's amazing. I'm so proud of you, Mom. So somebody says, Annie says, where can we watch the bonus episodes? So we just get them on our local cable. They release them usually a couple days after the first episode came out. We were actually, we were going to film that. This week has been crazy for us. We're going to film the bonus scenes and show them to you guys. We'll have that up on our channel. Somebody says, I really hope your mom is treated fairly in court. I wish she didn't have to go through this, but since she has to, I hope somehow it helps women that find themselves in her position. Me too. And I'm so proud of my mom, because that is one of her biggest things, is no NDAs, because she wants to be able to help other people. She wants people to understand what it is she's going through. And the funny part is my mom has been separated from my dad for almost 5 years, but she didn't go out there and slander my dad. She didn't go out there and say anything about my dad. Most people had no idea. And a lot of people in the AUB didn't even know until my dad reposted the article to slander me, which I didn't even have anything to do with the article. But most people didn't even know until my dad started saying, stay away from Sherlyn. She's possessed by demons. Stay away from her children. They're possessed by demons. And so my dad's really kind of shot himself in his own foot. It's not even something that my mom's had to go. She hasn't gone out there and slandered him at all. And she's been upset, but yeah. Oh, do any of your siblings side with dad? Sorry, she is going through this. I don't know a lot of them that do. I think there's a few that wouldn't necessarily, I wouldn't say they side with my dad, but I don't know. How would you explain that?
I would explain it that if they are faithful within the AUB and believe in him as the prophet, I would say that they're going to support their leader.
Yeah.
And so not necessarily support the way he's going about it, but support that. So I would say probably at least one of your siblings that I know would support him 100%.
But then again, I don't know.
I don't
My
know.
mom
We don't
has
talk
always
to her.
been the mom that she loved all the children equally, whether they were her biological children or not. People would go to my mom for the nurturing, for the kindness, for the acceptance. And so I know that it's really broken the hearts of a lot of my siblings that aren't from my mom, that aren't biologically my mom's children. It's been earth-shattering for some of them. Like, wait a minute, can we still be your kids? Wait a minute, can we still come and see you? It's been very hard for a lot of them. And their children call my mom Mother Sherlyn or Grandmother Sherlyn or whatever. And so it's been really, and again, most of my siblings didn't even know that my mom had left my dad, because that's how little my mom went out there to talk negatively against my dad. And so, yeah, it's been really hard for a lot of my siblings to come to terms with some of this. But then when they hear things, and of course my dad's making the phone call around, calling and saying, Aunt Sherlyn's doing this, or Aunt Sherlyn's doing that. You need to stay away from Aunt Sherlyn, or he's doing his best to dig himself out of the hole he's put himself in. But, let's see. If in the AUB men are supposed to marry many women, how do they I know that that's a big word, theistically justify the fairly equal numbers of boys and girls that are born?
Because
why they get kicked out like Corey?
Because only an elite few men can live this way properly. One of their prophets, I can't even remember who he was, basically said that polygamy will create more
Unrighteous men.
devils than gods, is basically how he paraphrased it. So to live polygamy properly, you can become a god, but if you live it improperly, you can become a devil. And so
yeah. And they say that all the time. I've heard that my entire life. This religion will damn more men than it will save.
Yep.
But there is a difference. So a lot of times the men are encouraged to go out and marry women and bring them back into the AUB. You see that on Big Love. He goes out and his first wife is from the LDS church, Barb, and he marries her, and then she gets ovarian cancer and he wants more kids. She can't have more kids. So then he guilts her into going back into polygamy. And so, but the church doesn't know she's a polygamist, so she's still able to go through the temple. That happens a lot, where there's a lot of conversion like that. But again, they just kick the boys out like Corey was kicked out. So thank you so much for that super chat. So blessed Canada. It says, I'm hoping the third upcoming chair is occupied by your mother. I love it when she comes on your lives and hearing her comments and perspectives. Finding your worth at any age is empowering.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, thank you. My mom says it's been 6 years, sweetie. No, it won't be my mom. Well, my mom will be here next weekend. She'll be staying with us next weekend. And so maybe we'll throw in a live while she's here. Again, she doesn't always like to be on camera, but if I hurry and blip her in the camera, she's not going to be terribly upset about that. But she will, maybe we'll do a Q&A where she can answer some questions for you guys. But nope, it's actually not my mom. It'll be somebody a lot that everyone knows. So it'll be fun. I'm excited for it. Yeah, Rosa said he definitely outed himself. He did. A lot of people. And I'm so proud of my mom too for going to the funeral, for Rex's funeral. A lot of people came up to my mom and gave her a lot of support at that funeral and told her that they were praying for her and that they were hoping that she wins her lawsuit. So a lot of people in the AUB are recognizing just how unfair these men can be. They're
PSR.
Yeah, I mean,
how
a lot
unfair the PSR is.
No one has ever sued a prophet like this, and ever. My mom is literally groundbreaking. Again, holding out help. We promote them all the time on our channel. They're the ones who are helping her with this, and I really just truly appreciate them so much. But no one has ever done this. No one's ever stood up to the prophet like this. They just kowtow and just finish out their lives and call it good. So I'm super proud of my mom for doing this because this is not an easy thing to do. But yeah, I'm proud of her, and next weekend when she comes up here, maybe we'll try to do something with her. Corey, can you please share the story about how your parents ended up in the AUB? I heard you telling the story the other day on the Sister Wives Professor podcast.
Oh, yeah. My dad was married to his first wife. They were part of the military. He was in Vietnam, and then when he was coming to the end of his military career, they had some missionaries come around from the Mormon Church, and they taught him and his first wife about the Mormon Church, and they both joined. And then he wanted to get to know more about the teachings of the Mormon faith. And so him and his first wife moved out here to Salt Lake City, Utah. And my mother was part of the LDS Church. I think but there were, so basically he came out here. He started going to church at the LDS Church. They would go to some firesides, and those firesides, they were teaching more important doctrine and principle. And eventually he met some people who said, hey, you should go talk to Rulon Allred. He can give you way more information about the original teachings of Joseph Smith and polygamy and all of that stuff. And so Dad became friends through a lot of, that's the weird part, is Dad was in a group. He knew 3 or 4 different people in the military who had all joined the LDS Church kind of at the same time. So they were his military buddies, and they all started coming into the LDS Church and delving deeper into the old teachings of it. And so as they started talking, they met with Rulon. They all joined the AUB. My mom and her family liked my dad and his first wife, and eventually my mom married my dad in a secret ceremony that my grandparents didn't even know about. Mm-hmm. And so, and then he married,
with my mom.
Yeah, married a whole bunch of ladies, and then when I was probably about 2 or 3, he was asked by Rulon to go up to Pinesdale and be a part of the United Order up there. And so we were all moved up there, and I think he had probably 5 or 6 wives by then, and then he moved up there and became part of the United Order up there. And then when my grandparents found out, because they had known that my mom had got married, because myself and my little brother were now around, and so, but they didn't know who she'd married, and my grandmother was afraid that she had married into some polygamous cult because it was so secretive, and so she had actually contacted my dad and some other people, asking them
help
to
to
find her, and yeah. Then my grandmother was very upset when she found out that my mom had married my dad, who she trusted, who she thought at that time was just a member of the LDS church. And so, and then when it all came out, then they got, all of them got excommunicated from the LDS church because they were still members of the LDS church up until that point. So then they all got excommunicated, and my grandma never trusted my dad again. So
In fact, she
my
hated
grandparents,
Corey's
frustrated
dad
with
because
him.
her daughter just
Thanks,
disappeared.
Cassie.
And a lot of times that will happen
Thanks,
when
Karen.
somebody joins a group like this, is the daughter will just she just disappeared, and Corey's grandma had no idea where she went. She didn't know she was even pregnant. And
One of them showed up with myself and was like, "Hey, I'm married, but you guys can't know who the father is." And so that's where grandma was getting she's in a cult.
Yeah.
And so, but grandma was sweet to us kids, so loved on us.
Yeah. And that happens a lot. And my parents, kind of similar thing, where my grandparents were studying with Rulin and Corey's dad, and it was just a bunch of them back in the late 70s, started researching more into when the LDS church opened up the temples to people of all nations and all colors. A lot of people left the church and decided to join polygamous churches, polygamous cults that they believed held on to the original true teachings. And so my grandparents were friends with Corey's grandparents, which is weird. Corey and I never met each other in the AUB. We met after we both left the AUB. But what's interesting is Christine's father, Rex, his youngest brother, Vance Allred, who has done a ton of talking about the AUB, and his father, Rulin. My dad and Vance were very best friends. And so I grew up with the family because of that, because Vance was a grandpa to my kids. And so, yeah, we had a very close connection there with Vance and the whole family there. So that's kind of how my parents joined too. They were both LDS. And then my mom was secretly married as the second wife, and my grandparents had no idea. And yeah, till she got pregnant with me, and she was disowned for a while. And yeah, there's a lot of secrecy around these groups. It's really tragic how much, because people start to panic and go, wait, you're in a cult, let me get you out of it. And so they try to hide the women until they're pregnant or have a baby. And then they can come back out into the world, because now it's too late, because now she's already got a child with this man. What are you going to do? Break up the child's family? And so that happens a lot. Yeah.
My dad's second wife, who was my mother, and the third wife were both LDS. And so when they married into the AUB, the Allred group was what we knew it at that time, both of their parents, my grandparents and the third wife's grandparents or parents, were upset because it not only was it secretive, but all of a sudden these ladies showed up with kids. They were never invited to a wedding. They'd been taught, they'd taught these girls that they wanted to get a temple marriage, and here these girls have gone off and got secretly married and showed up with kids. And who was this guy? Well, once they figured out who he was, my dad, and that he was posing as a good Mormon gentleman within the Mormon LDS church, they said things and warned other people within the LDS church. And yeah, then our parents and my dad and my mother's were all excommunicated from the LDS Church. There was a big purging of all these people who were still on the records of the LDS Church, but were living polygamy behind the scenes. So.
My dad married his first wife in the LDS temple, and then married my mom, like I think a year later, married my mom as second wife, and nobody really knew about it for the longest time. But of course, when the church found out, they were excommunicated as well. So that's what we say. A lot of times, yes, the women to men ratio is obviously off, but yeah, it's just go convert somebody from the LDS Church and bring them into the fold.
It's the easiest place.
It is. So. It is, because it's the most similar. I mean, it's the foundational principles that polygamy is taught from. Thank you so much, Classless 2 Hour a Week. Thank you for joining our channel. And then Karen Thorngren, thank you so much for becoming a member.
Welcome. We're hoping to give you guys a whole bunch more content for members. So yeah, we really appreciate it.
Somebody says, do you think Christine and David really knew each other, or even though they were both lived in Lehi and were AUB? I don't know that they really did. There's a lot. I mean, Corey and I grew up in the same church, and we didn't know each other at all until after I had left. I was 22 when I met you, and you were 25.
Yeah.
And then that was the first time I had left the AUB. And then I went back into the AUB when I was 24. And then we started dating when I was 26. So we didn't know each other. The thing is these communities are so big that there's just no way that you can know everybody. I feel like I know a good amount of people, but I don't know everyone. Like Rosa on here, I love that. Thank you so much, Rosa, for being on our channel. I knew some of Rosa's family, but I didn't know her directly. And then I know a lot of people around that area, but not maybe directly, like people that we grew up with. So yeah, go for it.
Corey, do you think the military primed your dad for a high demand religion? I don't know if it was the military that did that. My dad grew up, I feel like some of the things he was talking about from his parents, that he kind of grew up in high demand religion too. He was required to go to church to do things. He broke out and broke away, joined the military at 17. And then when he was finishing up his career, I think he was probably just looking at, well, there might have been some truth, what my parents were trying to teach me. So I'm going to go searching for the real truth type thing. And so I feel like that him and his first wife were looking for some sort of religious
community too.
Community after the military, because I feel like probably both of them had already kind of grew up in very strict homes. So,
yeah.
And so now they have 2 boys, and they're like, let's get them into let's look for a religious community to start raising them in. So
yeah,
I feel like they did that. And yeah.
And Corey's dad actually baptized my dad into the AUB.
Yeah.
And Rulin Allred is the one who converted all of them.
Yeah.
My grandparents, my grandpa and Corey's dad were very good friends. Corey's dad is a lot older. When did we were talking about your dad had his last child at what age?
70.
His dad was 70 years old when he had his last child.
And I feel like the military, because he was in the Vietnam War. And so, to be honest with you, I think he went into the military to kind of get away from how he was raised. And then the war actually woke it where he was like, okay, I need to believe in some sort of religion. So then he started searching for a religion after his military service. So
Right. Okay, I want to thank you so much.
Welcome,
it says, I
Kelly.
appreciate hearing more about your individual stories. The craziness of the Brown family is fun, but hearing truths from your experience is inspired. Thank you both for sharing. Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. Yeah, it's we definitely it's hard because so many people know the sister wives, so we can use them as examples of what we've gone through. But yeah, it does get exhausting. So, let's see. Let me go back to this one. Have you ever read A Polygamous Wife? I have not read that book yet. I'll have to look that one up because we're always looking for books to do on our book club. We had never done a book club until we did Christine's book, and we really enjoyed it. And so we want to get going on that again.
Why is it important? Siobhan Fountain says, why was it important for them to still be in good standing with the LDS once they joined the AUB? Well,
thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for that super chat. It wasn't necessarily that they needed to be in good standings. They just had a community of people that were all studying the scriptures. Most of them were a part of the LDS church too, most of them. And if you are part of the LDS church, especially when you got married for the first time, you could go through the temple. You could go see.
And this is before AUB had a temple.
Yeah, the AUB didn't have a temple back then. And so to be able to go in and get your blessings and your anointings from the LDS church, then as you started to live polygamy, they still believed back then too that the LDS temple was the place to go to get your
garments and your endowments and
everything. You just couldn't get extra wives, and so you kind of had to do that on the side. And most of their community was within the LDS community. There were a lot of people that only had one wife that were still part of the LDS church, but they were in connection with the AUB, because the AUB, until they started making or putting together these united orders, people just lived within their communities of the LDS church. And then once the LDS church started cracking down on people, they were even cracking down on people that didn't get more wives, but were in association with
polygamists.
The polygamists, and they were being excommunicated for just hanging out with them. And so that's when I felt like, once they were all being excommunicated down here, and I think they actually moved up to Pinesdale. And once the LDS church found out that Pinesdale was an AUB, my mother had registered her mailbox in Pinesdale, and that's when the LDS church kind of had proof, now I can excommunicate her.
Yeah.
Or she had signed a petition or something that had to do with Pinesdale, that then the LDS church says, okay, now we have reason to excommunicate her, because there was really no proof up to that point that she was a polygamist. So but it was kind of a cool purging. And again, this is everything that I kind of heard from my parents growing up, my grandmother, on what she went through as my parents got married. So
yeah, and honestly, it is a bunch of racist people who wanted to leave the LDS church based on policy that was changed, that ended up joining a lot of these different polygamous groups. And then once the AUB got organized and they started creating united orders, and then they were able to build their own endowment house temple. And then, up until then, it was a huge honor, blessing to be able to go through the temple. So that's why people kept it such a secret. Somebody says, was your dad from the Utah area?
No.
My dad was.
My dad was not. Most of his family was from St. Louis. There's some other back east. They were from back east. So most of my dad's family lives in St. Louis now. So.
Yeah, and thank you, Calariel 2067. Thank you so much for joining. Says just joined. Love your channel. Thank you so much.
You.
Let's see. Let's get to this. What do you like most about being on YouTube? You have fantastic channel despite the division it has caused with some. It's impressive how much you've learned and keep improving as creators. Thank you. I know we kind of just got thrown in. I started speaking out because, some of my siblings did, and they went to different creators, and I just felt like maybe we could give more of an honest, fair depiction of how we grew up. And so that's why we started, and I didn't expect so many people to be that interested. Honestly, I wasn't sure if people would be that interested in it. And then it was just great that Corey and I could do it together. And then, the amount of money, some of the money that we've made off of YouTube, we've invested in microphones and bigger equipment so that we could be able to, people could hear us and see us better. So we really do appreciate everyone, everyone supporting our channel. We really do, because there has been some division, obviously, but more so, I would say for every 9 people that say how much, from the AUB, 9 people that say how much they love us, there's only that 1 or 2 people that are angry. A lot of people are like, thank you guys so much. This needs to be said. These things need to be talked about. And we've actually had a couple people from the AUB reach out and want to tell their stories too. So we're going to be, as we get more comfortable, we're going to be doing that as well.
Catherine Perry says, Corey, sorry if you've already said, did your dad and mom get any military benefits? What was his job after the military? He did a ton of different jobs after the military. He was mostly a salesman.
He was a real estate agent.
Real estate agent, yeah.
Which I didn't even really know that until, that's not why Corey got into it.
No,
but,
I didn't realize he was either until my mom said, yeah, he used to do real estate.
In Southern Utah, with
Utah.
probably Rose's grandparents is what I'm guessing.
I was like, okay, cool. But yes, both my dad's first wife and my dad had a full career in the military, and they both retired and had benefits. We as kids, I didn't know all the benefits that kids from military families had. And my dad didn't want us older kids going to public school or being part of the world, public education, anything like that. But my younger siblings were able to take care of, or be able to go to college and stuff based off of my dad's career in the military. So I just didn't know it was an option when I was a kid, young adult. And so most of us older siblings paid for our own education outside of homeschooling and stuff like that. All of my brothers and sisters my younger ones got college degrees, but my older ones who've got college degrees paid for their own college. So, yeah.
And quite a few of your siblings have
Yeah,
gone to
quite
college.
a few of my siblings are college graduates. So,
yeah, and thank you for this. Classless 2 hours a week says, Sisterwise does give us something to visualize for sure. Mel and Corey definitely need to write a book. That is on my New Year's resolution this year, is to get started on that. So that is something that I am working on now. And then thank you, An Adventurous Life. Welcome to being a member. Thank you so much. And then I wanted to get to this one. I'm curious if Warren Jess is even still alive. He must be coming up close to 100 by now. No, he's not quite that old, but yes, I believe he is still alive in prison. We are going to be doing a 2-hour interview. So we're going to, with his son, Jaden Jeffs, who has a channel. He's going to interview us for an hour. Then we're going to interview him for an hour. So we'll definitely be talking about that. I think we're going to be doing that at the first of next week, but I'm not sure. This week has been literal hell. And so I have been trying to catch up. And so we're going to see if we can get that done.
Katie's right. I think Dad was raised in Wisconsin when he was little. I think you're right there. And then most of his family moved to St. Louis, Missouri. So when they were older. So.
Yeah. Oh, Lisa says, oh no, I'm at the part where Christine's father died. I didn't know that. Yeah. He just passed away on, I believe it was the 9th of January, 8th or 9th of January. And his funeral was yesterday. So, yeah. Oh, somebody says Warren is 70 years old. He was born in 1955. So yeah, I knew he was getting up there. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to get up here to this one. Are there documentary series, episodes, or movies about the AUB that you suggest people watch to learn more to avoid the sensationalized or inaccurate representations? Okay,
I
there
wouldn't say
is.
the AUB.
Well, there is. Remember, we just started watching that one again. We've seen this one a dozen times, but somebody sent it to us in an email, and I started watching it. I'll have to pull it up, and maybe I'll just tag it in our show notes. What's funny is like one of Corey's other mothers is in like 34 seconds in the beginning of the show.
Oh yeah.
And then you see me and my mom. I don't know. It's like 2 minutes in or something like that. My mom's like steps up and she's going out to kick my sister's butt because she's sloughing church. And I turn around to watch my mom, and my mom like folds her arms and goes walking out of the church building all like, I'm just about to beat this girl. And so I turn around to watch my mom. So you can see me turn around to look at her. But my mom's 6 feet. Well, she's not anymore, but she used to be 6 feet. And her hair was probably 4 feet of her 6 feet. So her hair is very long. So you'll know if you watch this documentary, you'll see my mom. But we're in it in a couple of different spots. But it's not a documentary just about AUB. It's about a couple of other groups too. I just can't remember the name of it. If anyone can think about it, they can throw it in the chat.
Yeah.
And so we're in that one. But you see the beginning of it, all the people coming into church at the AUB. And I had forgotten about that one, but somebody sent it to us again the other day, and started watching it again. I'm like, dang it, I want to sit down and watch this.
That was the one that they were filming.
They wouldn't let you guys go to church.
They wouldn't let us kids go to church. That was nice because we had the week off from church.
Yeah, Corey's dad didn't want to be filmed, so he
but
let him go.
one of his wives went over there and was part of the thing, so I recognized her in that movie.
Yeah, and thank you so much,
guys
Wendy
okay?
Sullivan, for becoming a member. We appreciate that. Somebody says 3 wives, 1 husband is a pretty good snapshot in my opinion. Isn't that Joe Darger's book, 3 Wives, 1 Husband? I think that's Joe Darger's book. And somebody had suggested that we do that, but that felt a little bit weird to me because I know the family so personally. I mean, not as much anymore, but I worked with them for 10 years. And so I'm like, I don't know if I don't know.
Want to read their book?
Yeah, I don't know if I really... If we do that, then I'll probably get a hold of Joe and talk to him about it, and maybe some of his wives, and talk to him about it and just be like, hey, we're going to do a book club on your book. Would you guys be interested in coming on and talking to us about it? If we decide to do that book.
Catherine Perry says, are you guys okay? Your energy is subdued.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Well, we've been sitting here for a little over 2 hours, so.
Yeah. Well, and my energy, I don't know. I guess my energy changes a little bit when I was like, I'll tell about my dad and the wives and what my grandma thought of my dad. So I kind of was like, because my grandma wasn't too keen on my dad, and I loved listening to stories from her because she's a feisty
little old lady.
She's feisty, but yeah, I've got probably siblings on here, so I don't know. I'm hoping. Katie's correcting me, so that's...
Yeah, Corey never wants to offend his family. He gets really concerned about that, about offending people that he knows. So that's another reason why it's easier for us to talk about sister wives, because it doesn't directly, some of the time. I will talk about a lot of stuff, but Corey definitely doesn't want to hurt other people.
My dad had 39 kids that he raised, and we all had different experiences. So
yeah,
some of the things I make fun of and joke about, but Dad and I didn't always get along, but liked the guy. I appreciated a lot of things that my brothers taught me too. And yeah, when 99% of everybody that went to my dad's funeral, well, of his kids, were not a part of the AUB. But one of his requests was to be buried up there by some of his wives that had been buried there.
So he's buried on the ranch.
So he's buried up there in Pinesdale. And so we went to the funeral and made fun of the people that were wanting to make sure everything was done according to polygamous code. And
that was funny.
It was fun to go in there and mess with them. My brother went in and put the flies into his temple clothes, and people were offended at that, and we didn't care because we were saying goodbye to our dad, and they could just bite the wall. So
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll go for about 15 more minutes. I didn't even realize. Yeah, we've been going for 2 hours. I didn't even realize that.
I doubt he did. Did Cody attend the funeral, Rex's funeral? I doubt he did. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. I saw dozens of pictures. I didn't see him in any of the pictures. I would be surprised if he did.
I doubt he
Mom,
would.
did you see him there? I don't know if my mom's still listening, but I don't think that he did. I think I probably would have seen something on social media from friends and family that have posted. So Rex's oldest son is married to 2 of my ex-sister-in-laws. So we spent a lot of time at their house when I was married to my ex-husband. And so my kids are cousins, direct cousins with their kids. It's Pligonometry again. And so there was a lot of those kids there. So I did see a lot of photos. I didn't see anything of Cody on there.
Corey, when your dad is excommunicated, does that excommunicate his children by proxy?
No.
Not necessarily. So those children that were still, I mean, they'd already kind of cleaned out his children from the community by the time they
horrible,
got
but
around to him. But those kids that were still a part of it, it's like, how do I explain it? Basically, Rulin Allred gave Dad the priesthood, and then Dad gave his kids the priesthood. And when he became unworthy to hold the priesthood, those kids that were still worthy to hold the priesthood, they just moved up a rank. Now they just deleted his thing, and now all of a sudden they're under Rulin, and so their priesthood just got
Stronger, bigger and better.
Yeah. And so, no, those kids that are probably in there that still believe, they just think their priesthood got a little bit, came directly from Rulin now, even though it was passed down through his lineage when he was worthy. Now that he's not worthy and doesn't hold the priesthood anymore, it just moves them up through the ranks. So, yeah, if you can excommunicate enough people, you could get right up there next to Joseph Smith. So,
and I feel like
directly.
that is also one of the things that we say the AUB makes up the rules as they go along. It depends on who you are and your last name. That question would fall into that category for me because it depends on who the man is. Where just Xing his entire family, get out, or wait, we like 1 or 2 of you, you guys can stay. So that's really one of those things that it just kind of depends on who you are, really. Unfortunately, it shouldn't, but that's unfortunately how it is. So somebody questioned random, but I find some satisfaction in thinking that Melanie's dad was thinking about her and brooding on Xmas. Sorry about his post, but you are doing something right and have been on his mind. Keep pushing through.
Yep.
Thank you. I'm like sad for him because I'm like, which wife's house was he at when he did that? What was she thinking? Like, he's just sitting there on social media getting all pissy about me instead of spending the evening with his wife and whatever family members were around him. I'm like, what are you doing? And so I wonder if like he just disassociated himself from whatever was going on around him and was just hate mailing me. I don't know.
Yeah.
So,
and there's a few reasons. Your mom says that she didn't see Cody there at the.
okay.
And there's a few reasons why he probably didn't show up. One of the big ones was Rex was at Christine's new marriage, and so showed up there kind of in support with Christine, and so there's not a connection there for Cody, and so I don't. And then I think Cody would have had to come clear to Salt Lake to go to the funeral.
Not going to make that effort.
He's not going to make that effort. If he was going to Wyoming or something like that, he might have made that effort. But yeah, this was a pretty good, big size funeral. There's a lot of people. I mean, that like Cody said, that family was considered royalty. So a lot of people probably showed up, and Cody didn't want to go there, and he probably saw, and showing up there, showing up to an ex-wife's
Yeah, but you could
dad
do it for your
funeral.
children.
You could, but
Not that we've seen
he's
him do a
never
lot of stuff for
stretched
his
to do
children.
that lately. So
Yeah, yeah, and that's why. Yeah, that's why I would say he would be there is for his kids. But
Yeah.
I mean, and you know, Rex was his father-in-law for how many years? 25 years. So, what are the age range of your siblings?
dang it. Hey, Katie, what's the age range of our siblings?
Mine is 58, and the youngest, all the way down to the youngest, is 25. So 58 down to 25 with the kids that I grew up with. Biologically, however, those are kids that my dad adopted, that he married their mom when she already had 3 kids. But biologically, they are 53 down to 25.
So I think my youngest brother is 30 or 31.
No, your youngest brother is, oh, hell. Yeah, I guess you're right. I didn't
Yeah.
realize he was that old. Yeah.
And my oldest brother is 70. So I think 70 or 71. So yeah, there's an age gap there. So
Corey's dad didn't start living polygamy until he was in his mid 40s. And then had Corey at
I think
45,
43
43 when, yeah.
wasn't when he had me.
Yeah.
So I was his third biological child, and he was 43 when I was born.
My mom said, no, Cody was not at the funeral because there was no cameras. That's hilarious. That's funny. So yeah, no cameras would make it. Why would I go if I'm not going to get paid? So.
And probably because Robin wasn't welcome. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. Robin was probably definitely not welcomed. I could imagine that. So, so yeah, there's a big, my mom's children, we'll just go with just my mom's. I'm the oldest, and I'm 51 and the baby is 25. So I was 26 years old when she was born. I had 3 children before she was even born. The other day, she lives out with my daughter, the one who has her YouTube channel, Beneath the Pines. So she lives out there. So if you see any of their stuff, you see my little sister. She's blonde. And so she came home a little while ago, and I'm like, you know why I'm your favorite sibling? And she's like, why? And I said, because I raised all of your very best friends. And she was like, that's so true. It's very true. And so it's just funny to be able to say that to a sibling, because I am more like a mother to her than I am a big sister. So my mom and I had 3 kids close in ages. So, and that is very common for there to be a kid at the same age as a grandkid. Why did Christine's dad not get to be the prophet? He didn't have 3 wives, first of all. You're supposed to have 7.
because Rulin Allred had a ton of kids.
Yeah.
And so I think 2 of Rulin's kids were, they were considered council members. And so that would put them in line to become the prophet. But her dad never became a council member. Either he wasn't called to it. Some people have been called to be council members and refused it. I don't know the situation on that, but 2 of his brothers were in line to be the prophet council members. But they both passed away before they could become the prophet. So
Yeah.
you have to outlive the other council members, so to become a prophet, or have somebody hopscotch over somebody more senior than you to assign you to be a prophet. So
It's very true.
yeah, and I just don't think he either was never called to be a council member, or refused to be a council member. So
Yeah. Well, and you're supposed to have at least 3 wives in order to be a council member, from my understanding. Again, I could be wrong, but my understanding is you're supposed to have at least 3 wives, and I don't think Rex ever did that. I know that his brother Vance was really like aiming to be a council member too. And when my dad was made a council member, that caused a lot of hard feelings between him and Vance. And then Vance ended up leaving the AUB and joining the LDS Church. And he speaks out a lot against the AUB. And you can Google or go into YouTube and throw Vance Allred's name in there, and you'll see a ton of documentary stuff that he's done about the AUB. So yeah, I think it just kind of depends too. But no, not to say that Rex wasn't in leadership of some sort. He just was never in the council. And so you've got the prophet and then the council of 12 apostles that are supposed to be under the prophet. And so, no, he was never in that leadership. And my dad became in that leadership when I was 19. So, gosh, how many years? 33 years ago, my dad became in leadership for that.
Yeah, and it's a group of men that they're supposed to go to the Lord once some of them die off and they need to bring it back up to 12, and they invite their friends to come in. So it's kind of who you know.
Yeah.
And so even though it's supposed to be the Lord assigning who should be the next person, so
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
You want to come hang out?
But there has been people that have been called to the council and they've refused it. They're like, no, that's way too stressful. So they backed away from being called on the council. So.
Yeah. Thank you, Jody, for that. Jody gave us a super chat to hear. Love times 3 is Darger. Yeah. And the other one was Rockland Ranch. I saw that comment. And we do know some of the people from Rockland Ranch, but
you do.
I do. Yeah, not you. But
I don't know anybody from Rockland.
But yeah, Love Times 3 is the Darger book, and maybe we'll cover that one day. But I would want to talk to Joe Darger before I did that. I'd probably. They just live a couple minutes away from us, and our kids have been friends. So
with their kids.
Yeah, with their children, because they went to school together, and so I would have no problem calling Joe and just saying, "Hey, we're gonna maybe cover your book. Are you okay with that?" Loop Tape says, is there an outfit or an external garment or jewelry that signifies a priesthood holder or the prophet? Not that I'm aware of outside of the temple. There are in the temple, there's temple clothes that signify this. And it's a joke between AUB members.
I got 3-inch sash on the bottom of my...
I know. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to go into that joke or not, but it's basically has to do with the hem of your garment.
How long it is.
Yeah.
How big it is.
Yeah. If the hem of your garments is super, yeah. So that's an identifying factor, but outside of the temple, not that I'm aware of. I've been very, very surprised. I've had a ton of comments about why are Cody and Robin wearing these big crosses. Because I think they're vain as hell and their egos are through the roof and they love to show off the amount of jewelry that they can afford.
Or they're letting the world know they're righteous. They believe. So,
yeah. And I think their daughters have joined a Christian church, and so maybe it's in support of their daughters. But for me, I think it's very vain and excessive, if you will. I don't care. Fine, wear whatever you want, but it just seems like they really like to have to wear all the blinged out stuff, which is fine. I mean, I guess if you can afford it. But yeah, I've been very surprised to see that. It's not something that you can't do. It's just not recommended that you wear crosses. Most Mormon, LDS, polygamous people do not wear crosses. Again, there's no doctrine that says you can't that I'm aware of. It's just personal preference. But for me, it just feels like a way for them to show off an excessive amount of jewelry. But yeah. So says, really, so the prophet just wears regular clothes even when preaching? Does the prophet lead the church every week? Yeah, he's always in a suit and tie, I'm sure. But no, he just wears regular clothes as far as I know. But my dad's always been very, very keen on wearing a suit and tie at church. And yes, if he's there, then yes, he presides over the meeting, or he asks one of his fellow leaders to do it. But if he's there, he's always the go-to person.
Yeah. If the prophet is in the building, then
Yeah.
he'll preside over the meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that the word? Preside over the meeting?
Yeah.
If he's not in there, then it's usually a council member. If a council member is not present, then it's usually the bishop. So the highest ranking.
It's the highest ranking
within
priesthood
the-
holder in the room.
in the room will run the church meeting. So,
Yeah, that's funny. Rosa says, "Oh my gosh, I forgot about the hem thing." Yeah, it's. I wasn't sure if we were going to say the joke because so many people make fun of that because I didn't understand that for a really long time. But it's part of the temple clothes. If your hem of one of your garments is this long or this long or this long, then that means you have X amount of wives and you're this holy and righteous and whatever. I think it's funny.
the guys with one wives are wearing skinny jeans. The prophet's wearing the big bell bottoms.
No, inside the temple, you have very specific temple clothes that you wear. You do
fine.
not wear straight clothes. You have very specific clothes that you wear inside the temple. But for church, no, I'm sure my dad just wears a suit and tie normally. So Mary posted a very emotional post today. She seems healed. Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. I haven't. Yeah, and plus we still got to call our daughter and say happy birthday to her today too. This is hilarious. Are you kidding me? Don't worry. The jewelry will be in a Flagstaff pawn shop soon enough. Oh my gosh. That is hilarious.
Well,
Rosa is a single wife and she says, my guy does not wear skinny jeans.
sorry, I've never been in there, so I'm just assuming it's just my imagination of what they're all wearing in their thing. So
Yeah. Somebody's, no, go ahead.
no, just now if Cody can get a ranking within the church or Saint Cody or get something like that, then he could sell his jewelry as it's now been blessed, and he can sell that
Oh my
and
gosh.
get more money at the pawn shop. So
Yeah.
I've worn this.
Somebody just says, I feel like most fans would like to hear Preston Jessup's side of the adoption story. He would have to he could have made mistakes, but gosh, giving up your children, oof. Yeah, I would love to be able to talk to him. We have so many so many people that we're connected with him. I don't know, we'll just put that out there. If he's ever interested, we would love to talk to him. We would be very respectful though of the questions that we'd ask. We would be very respectful of that because I can't imagine, I can't imagine some of the things he's gone through. So we would be extremely respectful of that.
Well, Robin's running around with them NDAs. He might not even be able to. So.
She's passing them out like candy. An NDA for you, an NDA for you. That's
Got a
hilarious.
big box of crayons. Jesus says love everybody. So
Oh.
writing up her NDAs.
Somebody says, who does the eulogy at Rex's funeral, for example? Is there usually a priest? Okay, so that makes sense. Typically, it's going to be whoever the family asks to do it. They'll ask somebody. So let's say if my dad was there. Apparently, my dad did not go, which very much surprises me because he's known Rex since he was 12 years old. So I'm very surprised if my dad did not go. But my dad would be there and they would acknowledge my dad as being there, but they would acknowledge that this person is presiding over the meeting and they would give the eulogy. They would do whatever the family requested, but that they would acknowledge that, or they sometimes, I don't know that they do this all the time, where they acknowledge the council members are there.
Yeah,
They don't really go through and acknowledge individual council members, but a lot of times they'll go up and they'll say, my name is so-and-so, I'm presiding over this meeting. I'd like to acknowledge Brother Dave for being here. Thank you for being here, the head of the priesthood. And not all the time do they do this, just sometimes they'll do it, but most of the time they acknowledge at least the prophets there. Yeah. And, but they don't acknowledge individual council members as far as I know, so that's kind of what I think would happen, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like at my dad's funeral, my older brother, who was still part of the AUB, kind of presided I don't even know what that word is. Presided over the
that's about
funeral.
as bad as me saying, oh my gosh, I'm going to apostolic.
Yeah.
So,
But he basically did that. But there were council members there to kind of
Make sure things are
make
done
sure
the
things,
right way.
yeah, exactly. They were the ones checking the to see if he was dressed properly or how we were. I can't even.
The acknowledgments are going out.
Yeah.
That if there's like any blessings
That need to be done, how
that they're
make
done
sure
correctly.
They're done correctly.
They're done
that
by somebody who has authority.
They're dedicating the grave before they put the casket into it, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Thank you so much, Brooke Riley. She says, I finally caught a live. You two are amazing.
Oh,
Thank you for
thanks,
that
Brooke.
super chat. Well, we're just about to wrap up here because,
yeah, it's been.
Oh, and then, so the HELOC, we just had a couple questions about the HELOC. We actually talk about that at the very beginning of the live. So if you want to go back and check that out when we're done here, because I think we're going to wrap up this one. And we've been going for 2.5 hours, if you can believe that. And we really do want to get our recap of the first tell-all. We really do want to get that up. It's just been a week. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Rosa, I agree with this one too. Rosa says, I feel like AUB funerals are more flexible than LDS funerals. The family gets more say in what happens, just my experience.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think that's that way with a lot of different things, like father's blessings, graveside blessings. Yeah, the AUB has a lot more flexibility that way than even the LDS church does. So I would absolutely agree. Oh, thank you for that super chat. Jennifer
that is awesome.
Branham says, can we bribe Preston Jessup to do an interview? Fundraiser, he would get paid. We all want to hear his side.
Yes.
That's funny. I would definitely, we've spoken personally to some very close family members, and we try to be very respectful. If people come and talk to us, we really try not to broadcast that out to everyone. And yeah, if he wants to, we would be more than willing to hear what he has to say, and we would be as very respectful as we possibly could. Again, I never want to try to talk somebody into doing coercive control. Definitely don't want to do that, but we would definitely be open to doing that. We would learn how to be interviewers real quick, wouldn't we?
Yep.
Shannon says, sorry to backtrack, but who do wives who stay with the husband
But
take
why
on?
do wives?
Oh, but why do the wives who stay with their husbands take on his sins? But the priesthood he gave stays intact. Yeah, why don't you answer that one, love?
Well, it's interesting. Because
men don't.
to be honest with you, because once the priesthood is passed through him, as he was worthy when he passed on that priesthood, and sometimes they might even go, wait a minute, we need to give the person that he gave that priesthood to a new blessing through a different line. So it depends on when he gave the priesthood, all of those things. To be honest with you, they wouldn't tell the outside people. They wouldn't tell probably anybody in there. But if you got your priesthood through him, you might have to go in and get the priesthood
A new blessing.
Yeah, a new blessing from a worthy priesthood member at that time. Some people might request that. But as far as the wives, I think the letter that was sent to my mother's was more, you will be taking on his sins if you stay with him.
But they believe that your dad's priesthood was removed from him too.
Yep. So he no longer has the authority to have multiple wives. And since 3 wives were staying with him, they were basically giving them an ultimatum, trying to scare them into leaving and remarrying somebody worthy within the AUB. And so, I feel like they were trying to scare them into it, but it brought out their true belief system that, if he's no longer worthy, then now you guys are living in sin. You guys, because you guys aren't supposed to be shacking up with a guy who is not worthy. And so,
But so this is another example of how people make up the rules as they go along. Mm-hmm. Some men believe that once their priesthood is given to them and they can trace it back to Joseph Smith, whatever. No man on earth can take it away from them.
There you
Only God himself can take, or Jesus Christ himself can remove that priesthood from them. And so they fully, truly believe this. And so when the wives stay with the man, and again, it depends on who you are, it depends on your last name, then
big
I
your
know the
priesthood
mental
is.
gymnastics, somebody just said, it's
Yeah, it
exactly.
really
And this
is.
is why it's so frustrating. This is why 100 people from the AUB could be watching our channel right now and all say, that's not true, that's not how it is, because that's not how it was in their family line. It
Yeah.
was that way in ours, though. It was this way. That's why we say all the time, we're just telling you our experiences of it, and they tend to coincide. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes I'm like, wow, I didn't learn it like that. And Corey's like, well, this is how I learned it. So,
Well, they sent my mother's letters trying to scare them into, if you stay with him, you're taking on his sins and you are going to be damned like he is. So you better leave him and marry some worthy men within the AUB.
this is how they reconcile
when
the
it-
quota difference
Yeah.
between men and women, too.
And when that didn't work, my mother's belief was she honored her covenant with him, and it's up to him to fix whatever covenant he made with God and fix that. But as long as she honors it and stays with him, so she even believes different from what the AUB leaders were passing, teaching her and threatening her with, and so she stayed with him, and other mothers stayed with him, willing to take on the damnation of the AUB to do that, because they believe that what other prophets have said, that as long as they stay in there and are faithful to the end, they receive their blessing. So one prophet says, hang in there to the end, you'll receive your blessing. And then the new prophet says, nope, you're going to be cursed if you hang in there till the end. So
Yep. And this is so true. Catherine Perry says, how horrible is the AUB to tear families apart that might otherwise reconcile?
yeah,
And that does happen, unfortunately.
this is the oxymoron that the
Families are
AUB
forever.
teaches. Yeah. Families are forever. Once you're blah, blah, blah,
Just
blah,
kidding.
blah. And
We
then,
don't like this man. So
Yeah.
now this family
This
can't
family's
be
not
forever,
forever.
but the
Yeah.
rest of them can.
Yeah. So it is every teaching that they teach, they've got an opposite teaching, and then they just juggle which one they want to follow. And so,
Yeah, somebody says, yeah, thank you so much. This is so true. Calling AUB rules doctrine is generous. It's closer to 3-card Monte, except the same people deal, shuffle, and declare themselves the winner.
exactly.
That is it. That is a lot of how it is, unfortunately, and it just depends on who you are. And so, yeah, when Corey says to his mom, she comes down from Montana, and he's like, so you're just as bad as dad. And she's like, I am not. And
You are excommunicated.
he read her the
You are-
paperwork that said, if you stay with this man, you are just as
Taking
guilty of
upon
these
his
sins as he
sins.
is. Now, did your dad believe he lost his priesthood once he was excommunicated? Did he? And so when
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
rebaptized, he had to be given the priesthood again?
Well, once he was rebaptized and considered worthy, then the priesthood kind of is now intact again. Everything bounces back through that baptism. So
He doesn't have to go
Yeah.
get like a
I
whole
don't
new
know.
blessing.
I don't know. I don't know
This
if
is
he
where
did.
I'm going to call Moroni, Jessup.
Yeah.
I'm going to call.
I'm sure
If
he-
any of you have ever watched Punk Rock Polygamous, I love some of his ideas.
Yeah, I wasn't around. I wasn't around when he got rebaptized, and he might have been given the priesthood again and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So he probably was, because the man who did that for him had to take on the responsibility of rebaptizing him and giving him the priesthood back.
Yeah.
And if he did it wrong and God said, no, that wasn't supposed to happen, he would have to take on that shame or that responsibility for giving a man who was unworthy.
Somebody says boomerang priesthood. I love
Yeah,
it.
it was.
That's about what it's like. Okay, so we are going to end it with this comment right here. Is there something else you wanted to?
No,
Okay, we're
good.
going to end it with this comment right here, because I absolutely agree with you so much. Baker Queen 9 says, don't be too hard on Preston. My son was in the same position, held on for 13 years until he gave her up. It still makes him cry now 3 years later. He was treated so badly.
Yeah.
And I absolutely agree. I know sometimes I get ripped apart because I try to give Robin grace. I just feel like we don't always see what happens. We see a very heavily edited show. And we see 45 minutes at most, at best, of these people's lives once a week. We don't know all of the details that go on in the background. We don't know who the wheres and the whys and the hows as to why people make the decisions that they do. And I really appreciate you making that comment, because I fully agree. We would give him, I feel like we have given him so much grace.
I give him grace because he was not a worthy member of the AUB. And so for her to go through the divorce, again, it was probably...
And she was marrying into one of the princes of the AUB.
Exactly. And so to fight that, and now she was marrying within the AUB with the priesthood blessings, with all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Now this new man had proper priesthood. So who within our community, who were they going to support? Were they going to support the righteous priesthood holder and his new fourth wife, or the disgraced kid that had never been worthy to go through their temple? Of course they're going to do that.
Absolutely.
And so within his community, within the people that he knew and was close with, he obviously had a lot of people that supported him and all that stuff, but all of a sudden she was choosing to make this whole thing go public. And we were trained as kids not to go public, not to get in a public fight in front of the whole world. No, thank you. And so, there's a whole lot of programming and stuff. And then do you wait and then reach out to your kids later? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he was in a no-win situation.
He was. So I give him tons of grace. Great kid.
Yeah. It's good. Okay.
Great family.
One last comment. Boomerang priesthood. I love it. And here us Gentiles, we're all over here playing pickleball.
Exactly.
So thank you all for joining us today for our
guys.
surprise live. We really do appreciate it. Watch for our book club. We're going to be coming out with that pretty soon. And I'll be posting a link to it. Yeah. And there will be a link on there that you can go buy the book through our link if you'd like to. That helps us out. So we appreciate that. And then if you don't follow us on Instagram, feel free to come over there. We're trying to update that more daily, give like daily behind the scenes of how we're filming and stuff like that.
And thank you to all those supporters, people who are members of our channel. We're trying to create a lot more member
content and stuff
to share with our members. So.
Yeah, and you guys, this has been such a great community for us. We really truly appreciate the way everyone shows up for us.
And somebody said in here too, that feeling of community, that we have a feeling of community. You guys are part of our community, and we appreciate all the support and all the love we get from everybody out there. So thank you guys.
Thank you guys. And I will get back to my emails. I know I've got like a dozen right now that I've not responded. So thank you guys all so much. Everyone have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you in a bit.
Thanks, guys.